All right. Yeah, dude. Fucking. Well, it's cool to see you again. Sorry, the table's all fucking dusty, but it's good to see you again, man.
Dude, thank you for having me back.
So we were talking about, before we started, talking about Revel. And Revel's kind of getting, like, big.
I went to them right before, like, when I got here during COVID. I moved back over here with my family, and immediately I was like, what is that? And I went in there, and the dude that's in there, his name is Danny. And he runs that whole entire, he owns all of that. And I was like, what is this facility? He's like, oh, it used to be like this huge, like, I can't remember if it was like the old Sportsman Warehouse or what it was. But
yeah, it used to be an outfitter.
He basically bought that out. And then and I recognized him. I was like, I know you. And then he was like, I kind of know you too. And I was like, where do we know each other from? And then he was like, well, I used to do Live Nation. I was like,
that's funny.
So we used to like, we've done stuff like with the same artists or like with the same contractors in the past. And so I was like, I know that name. And so it's been years and years since we've came across each other, but it's so funny how everybody passes each other. And then now he's like over here, like running all that shit. And I went over there this last weekend. They had a gun show.
Oh, sick.
No self-control. So my wife was so mad. But yeah, no, I went over there, bought some guns, and I got to take a look at the whole entire venue. It can fit like 3,500 to like 4,000 people up in there.
Yeah, they're new because they had like their piano bar setting.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been there a couple times. I went there to see 2 of the roast battles, and that was pretty fun.
Oh, the comedy stuff here?
Yeah.
Dude, they have a lot of comedy stuff that's trying to get off the floor over here, and it's actually pretty good.
It's fucking awesome.
I didn't expect like a lot of like the native like groups to like run everything over at the comedy scene over here that they have. They have also, what's his name, Buck D?
Dude, he's my dude. Shout out Buck D. Shout out
Buck
Robert.
D is funny as fuck, dude.
He's the shit, dude. I'm glad you guys got to link up.
Yeah, no, he's not. I've seen him. I think it was there was this other dude. I forgot his name. Johnny Jams, I think is.
Johnny James.
Johnny James.
Yeah.
He does all the.
Shout out Johnny James, the Albuquerque and GTA, and
we were doing a show. I got hired to DJ for B.O.B. over at Cake Nightclub. And he showed up doing like a birthday like hosting thing. It was his birthday, right. And it was like fucking lit. All these like crazy like drunk people at the front of the stage. He was like, "Yeah, get your ass up!" And it's like people were like all drunk and sloshing. He's just yelling at people. It was so fun for his birthday. I loved it.
Yeah, you know it's funny. And I've been talking about this with a couple of like some of the artists, like you brought up the Slums a little earlier and Cy Montero. There's this weird fucking renaissance going on in Albuquerque right now, and I'm here for it, dude.
It sucks that they don't have enough resources. I'm so mad.
Well, and that's the thing though, is like it. So that sucks up front, but in the long term, it's gonna pay off because that's requiring. I think we talked about this last time. Like, that's requiring the actual individual artists to do it themselves. Like, I think one of the better examples is Sarah Kennedy and her fiance, wife. I don't know if they're married or not, but they're both comedians, and they're the ones that opened Dry Heat. And it's a comedy club off of 6th, 5th?
Oh, here?
6th. Yeah, it's off 6th.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so, like, if 6th Street runs this way and you have Central and you get El Rey Launchpad, and then you have that giant parking lot. Yeah. Dry Heat's right here.
No fucking way.
Yeah. So
on that backside.
Yep. They're the ones that did that.
Oh.
And it's a cool little venue, dude. I went to their opening weekend. It's pretty neat. And so it's requiring a lot of these people, like talk about the comedy scene, all the open mics here are ran by comedians. It's not for the most part, it's not the brewery, or it's not the bar, or it's not the whatever it is putting it on. Like, of course, they're the ones that are promoting it. Well, promoting it, but
they're doing everything themselves.
It's the comedians that are starting it, hosting it, and they're the ones doing most of the promotion. It's funny. Buck D, he actually put up this thing on his Facebook, and he was asking a question like, "Why don't you guys show up to comedy shows?" And the first like 15 comments were a bunch of bullshit, but then finally people started giving answers. And one of the reasons that I had put was like, well, I have my own personal reasons why I'm not out very much, but and I put
well tell me, come on.
Yeah, so the first one is I don't have enough time. That's the first one. Is like I only have a certain amount of time, and quite frankly, if I'm going to go out, I would much rather go to the theater than go drink and then go to a comedy show.
I don't feel like I can go to the theater anymore because first, A, the movies aren't good enough, and plus, B, some of the movies that are out, it's like 3.5.
See, and that's why I don't even go to the theater anymore because like it's it's okay. So let's say you go to a movie that's a 2.5 hour movie. That entire endeavor is like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Because you're doing the drive there. If you want to get food, that adds time. If you want to sit down for the trailers, but either way, the trailers are going to take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So like if your showing starts at 3:50, it's not, or 3:30, it's not going to start at 3:50. And then you're there for 2.5 hours, and then you got to drive back. So that's like a 3.5 hour event. So that's already enough time, right? But then going to a comedy show, it's like if I have time, I'm going to go to the roast battles because even if that sucks, it's good.
Yeah, roast battles are good.
Shout out to fucking Buck D. Like the last one that I went to, there were a couple comedians from Santa Fe that fucking bombed. They were, and props to anyone who does that because
comedy is fucking hard.
It's hard.
In the entertainment realm, there's like I don't want to say that there's like a pyramid of like respect, but there's like
a fucking hierarchy. See it.
There's a level of like understanding of like how hard our jobs are. And
I'm proud to announce that the podcast is now officially sponsored by the fine people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, this is some of the best chili you can get here in the state of New Mexico, and they are online as well as in stores. They can be found at Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, John Brooks, and Lowe's Corner Market. They have 3 amazing flavors that you see here, and they also have frozen green chili that you can get online. Go on over to the website, chopchilico.com, and get yourself some amazing chili today.
Nobody talks about this, and I've had the opportunity. So I first fell in love with like comedy and started going to comedy shows in Salt Lake City. And my friends were like, you got to go to this venue called Wise Guys. And I was like, I've never been to a comedy bar. I'm like, I don't drink. I don't like, it's not my scene. They're like, shut the fuck up. Come on, let's go. And so we go over there and we have to get our tickets like online like a week before. And I'm like, what the hell? And the tickets were like $40. And I was like, who is showing up? They didn't say who was showing up. So I'm like, why am I paying $25, $30, $40 for a ticket to somebody that I don't know? And they're not even marketing. And then they're like, don't worry. They always bring famous people. They never show like their faces until like they get onto the stage. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I've gotten to see Kevin Hart. I've gotten to see Andrew Schultz. I've gotten to see Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan. They go to Wise Guys in Salt Lake City because it's only a room filled with like 60 people, 80 people max. And
so they're going there to try out their new stuff. And
they try out all their nobody told me that this exists. This isn't like I didn't know about that. And then they would have small little local openers that were like there that would like test out their material, and everybody's there testing out brand new material to see what hits, what doesn't. So then when they take it from like the small little like bar scene over to the theaters that only fit like 400 to 1,000 people max, they can test out there a couple theaters around the country, and then there they can finalize everything, all their material, so they can take it to their like Netflix specials.
Like Madison Square Garden.
I got to see some material that Dave did with Joe Rogan before they went on tour with each other. And then they took all that material and then like polished it perfectly, and it was even funnier when they did it at the amphitheaters in Salt Lake City. And I was like, oh my God, we're like 12,000 people. And so like that's how I fell in love with comedy. And I've been looking at like smaller people. TikTok has been blowing up a lot of comedians. If you go through my like TikTok feed, all the
comedians and podcasters, and I have people fucking damn near like throwing the rhetoric down my mouth trying to get me to get on TikTok. And I've talking so much shit, spoke so much shit about it. It's hard for me to do it.
You have to,
but I know
you have to. It's so good. Do it. Join the Chinese. Come on.
It's all psyop, but no, it's cool. What's happening here, man? And like so, like I was saying with the roast battles here, fucking Buck D, dude. Like there were a couple people that fucking bomb, and then he shows up and roasts the shit out of them, and it makes it funny.
He's funny. He's
hilarious.
He was after the show in the streets, just talking with homeless people and talking with people coming by. I remember while we were packing up all of our stuff and all of our equipment in our car, just like waiting for like the buses to move out of the way. He was just like bro, he's such a good personality.
Yeah,
like
he's a good guy, man. And what's cool, like he taught me a couple things that are super important that kind of stick with me. And the first one is like, if you're ever gonna go out and do anything that requires someone to pay their money to come see you, take the time before the show to say what's up, thank you for being here, and then take the time afterwards to say what's up for coming.
Me, I just lie to people. I'm just like, hey, it's a party when it's like my concert, and so people don't know what they're showing up to, so they're just like, you know what? It's
there are a couple ways to do entertainment, apparently, guys.
Yeah, no, I lie.
But then, it's all about like learning how to. Another thing that really, on a serious note, what he had told me was like really figure out like, and this helped me out because like I talked to my buddies and then I talked like to musicians shit like that, but I also had like I did fucking Jay Block, a guy who was running for governor last year. I had him on, and then I've had like a couple psychologists on, like people who are like obviously way more like professional, smarter than I am.
Yeah.
And so learning how to be kind of that person that can change the way you're gonna.
You should have our governor on right now and see
Dude,
why she's burning our city down.
Man, I had a fucking strategy and it blew up in my face where I was gonna end up getting the governor on because I was supposed to fucking.
She's bringing some pretty cool resources, but like way too late in the game.
Yeah, you know, man, I was trying to get a couple people on that would eventually lead to the governor. I was like, all right, these are because like I'm very selfish. I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to the podcast, I'm very selfish. Like I'm never gonna have somebody on just because I think it'll get good exposure or I think it'll like push their narrative or whatever. So I want to do it because. Certainly, if I'm going to spend an hour to 3 hours with somebody and they're going to spend an hour to 3 hours with me, I want it to be a good time, something that I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, how many fucking podcasts alone have you watched where the host totally does not want to be there, but this person's so fucking famous it's going to make them like get more exposure? It happens all the fucking time.
I do see. Right now, I'm like caught up with the whole entire Daily Wire / like Steven Crowder thing. Have you been seeing that?
I've kind of seen only the Daily Wire side of it. I haven't taken time to go into Crowder's side of it.
I found out about Daily Wire from watching Steven Crowder.
Interesting. And I didn't even find out that they were mutually like a thing. Or like they were going to be a thing. I knew they were both on the right, obviously, but I didn't know that they were involved with each other until this happened.
Ben Shapiro apparently was his lawyer like 20 years ago.
And I learned that like
when he was transferring when he was working for Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder was going like something for Fox, and then he was like looking over contracts. So he was actually like doing all that and getting like I don't know how well established he was at the time, but like
right. Well, from what I know about all that, it seems that you know a lot more than I do. But just all I know is that they offered him a $50 million contract, which is what the fuck, $50 million, and they were going to have him like it was over like a $50 million contract over 5 years, but it was like if you lose viewers over time,
well, they sent him a term sheet, and I get term sheets all the time. Where, like for example, like the venues. If I want to build a nightclub,
or before you get a contract, you get this set of terms.
Nothing is solidified. This is where you want to put all your stuff on the contract, and so you go back and forth, and it takes a period of time. And that term sheet, I'm not citing, I'm just focusing on what happened. Basically, he went out with the term sheet and he went out on his own platform and he was like, I'm going to read you the term sheet of what I was offered, and then goes through, and then he was like, it's all about money. It's all about the financial, and then they don't want to, it's like a big tech they're like joining big tech and all that. And then they if nobody said anything, it would have just been water under the bridge. But then Daily Wire immediately made a video. They were like, hey, so since our contract got leaked, we'll just go over every word, like word for word, going through all the lines. And then they went through all the terminology. And then from there, it's been going crazy because now they're all making, they're all, dude.
as they should have. And to act like a partnership isn't about business, it isn't about money.
Well, it's just like they're friends. Like, it's weird to see like friends and homies like film each other and then like out each other. And first of all, it's $50 million.
Well, in true Steven Crowder fashion, he's talking out of his ass, it seems like, before he's actually getting the full picture. And that's what made him famous. Is he gets a small substract of facts about one subject that he knows if he sticks to this subject, he will always win the argument. Yeah. And then he goes out on college campuses and bullies little Tiffany, who's a fucking business major or a psychology major, about why she sucks about not knowing the history of transgenders or the history of gay people or the history of black people.
I just did this, though.
That's why
I just went on UNM campus.
That's why they get famous. But you're not doing it to exploit people. I saw what you were doing. And he does it to exploit people.
I don't know, dude. I might go down that road because there's a lot of stupid kids on UNM, bro.
Dude, there's stupid kids in college. That's the whole point, is they take the ripe 18-year-olds and they fucking brainwash
No, but these ones are really retarded. These are really retarded. I go up to these kids and I'm like, dude, like, what's something you want to see at like a party? And this dude's like, ass. I want to see ass. I want to see black ass. I want to see just nothing but black ass shaking everywhere. Like, I'm like, dude, like,
is this on video? Did you get this on?
This is the first thing that pops up on the video. This is the first thing that I ask at like, I run a company. I have a company now. So, but we basically were like filming, and I was like asking kids. I was like, "Hey, we're on UNM campus. I'm here with like our main headliner DJ for an event, and I'm gonna be asking kids like how they feel about like the party scene over here." And I started walking around.
Has to be at a party in order for you to go. Specifically, you. Ass, for sure. Ass. Black women. You know, no discrimination.
Yeah, like that's. And it's not just one of them; it's like 100 of them that give me that type
Shout
of.
out to Black History Month.
Yeah, Black History.
Starting off right.
Juneteenth, we're ready for you.
Oh my fucking god!
No, but like I'm seeing now that, and weirdly enough, I've been like throwing money at like different levels of marketing to try to get like our brand out there.
Yeah.
That naturally got way more views and got way more shares and got way more like fucked with than any other post that
Because
combined.
It's real, dude. He gave you the uncensored answer. He gave you the caveman Neanderthal. Like, I need to reproduce.
I want ass.
Yeah, that's the
Like-
fucking answer. Oh my god.
No,
Okay.
we're gonna just so you know, I'm gonna build a small little series of just going around UNM. We already have filmed twice. Again, doing interviews. I haven't edited or released anything because I don't know where it fits in with what I'm doing. And it is so fucking good, dude. Like, I totally suggest you take this over to UNM. I'm not joking you. You definitely need to go take this to UNM because quite literally, like, there's so much content to be made. It's just one of the best places to promote anything off the ground. Our market over here is so desperate for entertainment. And I'm not going to say their names, but I'm managing, like, 2 little, like, artists from here locally. And
Would I know them? Maybe.
they're kind of a little bit underground. I found them through TikTok, and one of them had a shit ton of views and like a shit ton of followers. I was like, holy fuck. And then I look at his music, millions of views. I'm like, what the fuck? How has nobody found this artist? And he's like down the street from me over here. Started working together, and I was like, what is your goals? And he's been doing shows over here, but it's been getting like, the problem is I see music artists go and they make music. And so they figure out how to make music, and they actually make some good music, whether either they produce it themselves, send it to engineers, or they go and they buy the beat from a real engineer, and they get like an exclusive contract. And then they put their vocals on it, and then they figure out how to put it on Spotify. A lot of people don't understand like what it takes to get from point A to point B and then actually have like 1,000 people in the room. And one of the biggest things that I always explain, and I train a lot of music artists on, or like DJs now, is that getting 1,000 people in the room and then getting 1 million views on your song are two very different animals.
Oh, for sure.
They don't know the difference. And one of the biggest problems that I'm having with a lot of the venues over El Rey is basically I'll get like, for example, artists that are coming in and that are selling out the area and selling out the venue. And basically what's happening is that you'll have like the promoters, or you'll have like the people that are booking and stuff. They're like, hey, so who's the artist that is coming? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just me. Just so you know, my background and a little bit of what I did, I just started a company. There's been a lot of shit that's happened since the last time I talked to you. I got married. I started a company. I've been working with a shit ton of artists, managing. I've been touring. And so basically, I throw parties for the college demographic. And now I'm expanding that to like a tour where I'm trying to be able to expand Project X as a tour in Arizona, in New Mexico, in Utah, in Colorado, in Idaho, and just doing like this vicinity over here and seeing what happens. Because over here is the perfect market for kids that have not seen something popular. Like, what is the #1 university for partying?
University of Arizona.
Or LSU or UCLA. Those are like, I would say, I would throw Texas in there in the top 4. I don't know who the top 5 is, but like somewhere
Definitely U of A and UCLA for sure.
Yeah. So these universities have just an enormous amount of venues, DJs, fraternities that have a shit ton of funding to put all this together. And over here, last time I came over here, I was like, there's not enough resources. Like, now I have no excuse. I have all the equipment. I have all the resources. I got in bed with like Monster. And so like Monster was able to like sponsor us for a little bit. And
oh yeah, I saw that. That was sick. Yeah, I saw that.
They basically were like, hey, you want to help out with like a college like competition like festival? And I'm like, sure. And so I was like, and they paid for all my venues. We threw parties all over the fucking city, dude. It was absolute. We had the city contact us and be like, hey, we have to have a meeting. And I was like, did I do something wrong? And then they're like, no, but something wrong is going to happen. And basically they put me in a connection with a detective.
You brought too much fun into Albuquerque, bro.
I marketed so here's the problem is that I was like, if I want to get people's attention and have them fuck with me, I have to give them something that is going to be affordable. It's going to be like grabbing their attention. Nothing that has been done over here. No money is coming out of my pocket, and I'm just using the resources that are given to me. And so all the venues are paid for. Free party. And so I threw free parties at several different venues all across the city. And we were marketing hard. I built like a team of like college kids that were just like promoting hard as hell. They were creating content with us. We were making like commercials all over the city too. I do like my daytime job. I like do like maintenance at like several different properties. And so like I had keys to like one of these properties that had like a really nice pool. So we snuck in and just like threw like a pool party and threw like a commercial.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no, we were just, we're savages. And so we were coming in there just causing a ruckus. We got our footage, put it all together. And we were saying, hey, free parties, like show up. The detectives started calling me. They're like, hey, you got the attention of some of the gangbangers here over in South Valley and in some of the different parts that are over here. And do you know what an initiation is? I was like, no. They're like, basically, in order to allow these people into their gangs, they have to do certain things. And one of those things is killing somebody. And so here's some evidence that we need to show you immediately. And so I had a party on that Friday that they called me and we got in contact, like, I think it was like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. in the morning is when we finally got in contact with the detectives. And they turned around, they were like, here's all the footage, here's all the videos, here's all the stuff. They had burner accounts that they've been like studying and watching very closely that are saying, hey, we're going to be showing up at this place. Like, we're going to be like popping it off, like, don't show up. And they were giving the address, the time, everything, and it's all like aligned with our parties that we're doing. So these people were strategically planning to do a shooting at our college parties in order to be able to initiate into the gangs over here. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, that didn't hit my mind at all, that I needed to like double, triple, quadruple the security and the police presence, because I was like, it's fun. Why would anybody want to do that? And I didn't realize that that type of stuff is still down here, and I was ignorant to forget about all that. And
so why? Okay, so were the police reaching out to you in an effort to like work together? Like, hey,
no, I had to shut it down. They told me to shut it down, or else people would die.
Shut it down. Okay,
I ended up last minute having to make a shit ton of marketing and get everybody and their dog. I had probably I literally was physically grabbing people at like the college football tailgate that same day, like getting people, everybody to post it on their story, because I was expecting the first few parties, we were expecting like hundreds of people. We were getting interactions and people like in the thousands showing up. And I was like, oh my God, this is not okay. One of the very last parties that we threw with the whole entire monster sponsorship type of thing ordeal was at an itty bitty little venue called Power Plant. And I was like, you know what, if we keep getting shutting down and we're going to have security here and we're going to have all presence and making sure everybody's wanted and stuff, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to give away Yeezys for free. I'm going to get helicopter rides that is from like one of the local like people over here. I'm going to give those a couple of those for free. We're going to give away like some prizes, some stuff like cash, like some stuff like that. I want to make this as big as possible so we can just go out with a bang. And so, because people were pissed off at us that we canceled the last party, and already everybody had nothing to do. Like, everybody was going to go from the tailgate straight over to this party, and we were going to have like thousands of people showing up. So everybody is giving us so much backlash that even my team members had to like sit down with me. We had to have like a very thorough like discussion of like what we could do to bounce back, because they were like, we're going to give up. Like, this is done. Like, everybody hates us. And it was true. For a minute, we were getting so much hate from that. But then I was like, we can do this. Just like, we only have like one more party left. Like, let's just do this. Our very last party, that venue can only hold like 250 to 300 people. And the line itself waiting outside the door was around like 400. And so, and we were like still like 10 minutes from opening up the door. And I was like, damn, this is going to be brutal. Throughout the whole entire night, the whole entire venue packs up to the point where we had to open all the doors, and they had this huge garage, like semi-truck door in the very back. We had to open that up. Everybody was filled out in the very back of like the back parking lot, like back, like dirt, like patch area. And and this is a free party. People were jumping the barbed wire fences, and people were trying to get into this party, because it was just like so nuts. And we didn't have anything crazy. We had like a really awesome DJ. I don't know if you know who DJ Explicit is. She's like really awesome. She works around like the effects and like around the nightclub scene over here. But like we had her headlining and all this craziness. And then after that, we had all of our video footage, all of our media. We were done. After that, immediately, all the college kids had such a good experience from that. It was chaos, pandemonium, trash, beer cans everywhere. We took that momentum and immediately jump-started Riot Entertainment. So immediately from there, we were like, okay, if we're going to be doing this, we have to do this like head on. And so me and my stupid like ideas, I'm like, we need to have like meetings and like do recruitment stuff and like make it like really secret. So I went and put out like a bunch of marketing. I was like, hey, if you liked our party, like come join our team and make it like way bigger. Like come join us. And we ended up having our first meeting. And I was like, I'm going to make it like really secret. And so retarded. I grabbed buckets and we went into the parking lots of like the Pope Joy Hall, like parking structure. And I was like, we're going to secretly meet in there. And so everybody's like sitting on buckets, like watching me like rant on about like my ideas about parties.
So you started with parties and then you became a Branch Davidian. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Cults. Cults is what happens.
Yeah.
People.
No, people fuck with it. Like people really do fuck with it. We went to Salt Yard. And Salt Yard gave us the opportunity. I don't know why we keep getting these awesome opportunities, but like Salt Yard was like, yeah, sure, try it out. Like we want to see what you guys can do. They put us at the East location. Yeah. And that was a complete shit show. I apologize to Salt Yard because what ended up happening was I was not prepared for what we were going to do in there because it was right at finals, like this last December. Like the first week of December, everybody was finishing up their finals and everybody was going to go home. So I was like, we have no like audience to bring here. And then they were like, well, you have 10 days to impress us. Like, here, like, because we went into Salt Yard like, hey, we want to rent out this venue. And they saw all of our stuff. And then they were like, oh, well, if you guys are talking this big game, like, come in here. You have 10 days to fill out this and make it look like really good. And so we
figure it out.
Yeah. And so I was like, fuck. So I go in, I have like an emergency meeting with all of my like team and everything. We start putting video footage together. We did like a party. I was like, okay, we're right at the edge of finals. Why don't we call our party Fuck Finals? They have 3 venues within one location. The first one, which is the smallest one, is called Salt and Lime. It is a bar and it has a little mezzanine. In total, that whole entire space in that area can fit like around like 200 people shoulder to shoulder. I think the fire marshal capacity is actually 150, but they, no venue listens.
It's Albuquerque.
Yeah, nobody listens. Their second venue that's right next door, that's connected by a door, is called the Side Yard. Side Yard can fit anywhere between 350 to like, I want to say barely tapping like 500 to 550. And then their main room fits like 1,000. And so, those 3 venues in total can fit well over like 1,000 people or a couple thousand. So
you're coming up on 2, yeah.
Yeah, but the Salt and Lime is what I wanted because I was like, oh, it's itty bitty. I can say that we're having a free party and get like a bunch of the kids left over come to this like little venue. And so what they didn't know was that this is an 18 and up. Like I cater to the 18 and up market, but then if the 21 and up, I separate them if they want to drink. And so we can hit all the demographics within college. And so
right, that's your freshmen and sophomores in college, right?
Yeah. Basically, the day of the party happens. I show up, I start setting up all my equipment in the Salt and Lime, and I see a bunch of Filipinos. I'm talking about like 80 Filipinos in there. And I'm like, none of them speak English. And I'm like, what? And so, no, wait. We go in, and I'm trying to find the owner of the property. And I'm like, where is he? I'm going venue to venue trying to find him. He's in there. And I'm like, dude, there's a bunch of brown people next door and I need to set up. Like, this is like my time to like start sound checking. He's like, oh yeah, they're having like a little Christmas like meeting celebration thing. And they have that for like another hour. I'll try to kick them out. And then he was like, wait a second, this is an 18 and up event, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, shit, I'm so sorry. We have all of our liquor in that venue. You can't throw your party in there. I'm like,
right.
Yeah. Now, side note, I only created enough marketing for like 100 people to 200 people to show up. I made sure that it was like knit tight Like nobody knew about it, only the 200 people. So we can fill it up perfectly. So it's not overmaxed. I'm trying to impress this venue. I can fill it up
being
to
professional.
I'm trying to, only 200 people. And so I was like, okay, I have exactly 200 people showing up. What is the case? And then he was like, I'm just going to move you to the, like, you know, the 500 person venue or the 1,000 person venue. I'm freaking out in my mind because I'm like, okay, I'm going to suffer from the black hole effect. In case you don't know what that is, you step into a venue and say you have 1,000 ticket sales, but because you're the first one there, you go into the room, nobody's in there. You're like, oh, it's dead in here. And then you leave, even though the music's blasting, everything. And there's not enough people. So that's why you try to get as many people in front of the door first and try to get them all come in or hold the doors till you get like 1,000 and then come in. So basically, I'm like, fuck. If he puts me in a bigger venue, I'm not going to, I don't know how I'm going to fill this space at all.
Your retainment's going to suck.
Yeah. And so I'm like, and on top of it, there's no stage. There's no nothing. I'm literally setting up my speakers on like a staircase. And like trying to like put my light bars and make it all look like I'm at the entrance where there's like a huge staircase. And I'm like, God damn it. And so he's like, you're going to be fine. I don't feel well. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave this random stranger with you that does alcohol. So good luck. And then he leaves. And I'm like, so I don't know what to do because it's like the worst situation possible. I'm in there was so much responsibility. I'm like, should we cancel it? And I'm like so nervous that like I threw up. My wife is like, dude, it's going to be chill. Like whatever happens, it happens. Like we're just going to deal with this and roll with it. I'm like, okay. And it just sucks because I just started the company. I just built a really good connection. Like I want to do this. We open the doors. There's already like, again, 400 people outside the door. And I'm like, what the fuck? Throughout the whole entire night, we get around like, I would say like 892 people. Throughout the whole that whole entire venue was absolutely filled to the brim. I'm going to send you the video so you can be able to like show it. But this was the whole entire ordeal where we basically went in there. And I feel really bad because I had like some DJs in there that I love to death. They're like my best friends. The crowd was kind of like eating them. Like some of them were like dancing and then like the vibe like stopped. Like all of these kids only love hip hop and I don't know why. Like usually I get like a pretty diverse market of like people doing like EDM, hip hop, country, stuff like that. But like all of these kids only wanted to hit like the ratchet like hip hop scene. And I was talking with one of my DJ friends and trying to figure out like a solution on how do we gauge what type of music to play to our audience. And he's like, oh, I just look for black people. And I'm like, same. And the reason, and I know it sounds really crazy, but no, quite literally, I saw this in Utah all the time. The population of black people in Utah is like nothing. And so when we find them at the club or at the party scene, like quite literally everybody watches them. And if they're having a good time, everybody vibes up too. So if they're dancing, everybody, no, quite literally, they set the scene and the setting. And so I'm serious. If you go to the nightclubs and you see the black people dancing, everybody's going to be dancing around them. If they don't dance, nobody's dancing. Like, it's a weird phenomenon. I promise you got to go look for it.
Reparations paid.
Yes. They have.
I laugh at my own jokes. Anyway. Oh, my God. Well, that's fucking crazy. You had a turnout like that.
Yeah, I was
Sick.
not. We were super, super blessed. Big problem. We did not know what to do with the bathroom situation. So people were like, peeing everywhere, and then on top of it, we had oh my God, dude, we had to find the bathroom in the next door venue. So away from the bar on the left side, we had to go to the main room, which fits thousands of people. In the other side, we opened up the gates to that, and then had gating blocking off everything except a beeline to the bathroom.
Right.
The rest of the venue was filled with a bunch of tables. Remember, this is December. It was filled with tables that had thousands and thousands of toys for a toy drive that was going to happen the very next day. What do you think a bunch of drunk college kids are going to do to a room filled with toys that are unmonitored?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Bro, there was a Nerf war happening in the middle of my party. And these are for like toys for underprivileged children. So
I was waiting for the like, okay, what was the issue? What was the fuck, man?
Yeah, no. So these kids are these there was like some fat girls that were sitting on tables and break the tables. We had ping pong tables that were concaved. We had furniture that was breaking everywhere. We had toys that were stolen. We had a bunch of different things. We had such an amazing turnout. And then
Fuck.
If it wasn't because of the theft and the urine, outside and everything, and the amount of trash that all these kids left, it would have been an amazing time. So,
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
So how? Okay, so
I have to rename because I'm literally called Riot Entertainment, and quite literally, we're already not setting the bar pretty high.
so compare your marketing from the parties to that. What was different in your marketing strategy?
Quite literally, we limited the amount of marketing. We made sure that we did not post as much on social media to make sure it didn't get out like crazy to have a. I don't know how. I really don't know how. And I feel, again, going back to the amount of the lack of entertainment for the certain demographics here are causing huge strains and problems throughout just the culture there. Like, for example, like the college scene is dead. We went around in our video and we were interviewing kids and we were like, what do you grade? Like the 3 main questions that we prepared for all the college students that day was A, what would you like to see at a party? Specifically you, what would you like to see at a party? And then they would answer whatever stupid answer came out of their mouth. And then the second question would be, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade the party scene? And then all of these kids, not like we had a couple of crazy kids that just don't know anything about partying that would answer like, oh, it's an 8 or a 9 or a 10. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like,
right.
There's no parties here that are like, we're not Vegas, okay? Like, go away. Yeah. But then we legitimately, out of like 45 people that we interviewed, we would only get like 2 of those that would say something ridiculous. But everybody always graded everything like 5 and under. So this scene is like a 5 and under, which is like gross. And so like there's like people who are literally saying that quinceañeras are way more like lit than the party scene over here for the college kids.
The cops can go down to the ghetto, bro. No, let's be fucking real. Like, so when I went through my like very, very small party phase in college, like the only parties that I went to were for some of the athletic teams at UNM that I got invited to, and they always
were they like house parties or were they actually like in venues?
No, they were house parties, right? That's the only.
I don't do that. That's the biggest thing. When I tell people party, they don't know what I mean.
And that's my point, right? That's my point exactly, because nobody does that here. Nobody fucking throws just like the only people that will throw like a party or a rave or anything like that are like the Subtronics who just came last night or 2 nights
That's
ago.
a concert.
Exactly. That's my point.
That's a concert.
Exactly. It just adds to my point, right? None of that shit's here, right? Nobody throws a party or throws a event and goes, hey, this is going to be a spot for everyone just to fucking dance, party, have fun, get drunk, because that's going to end in violence, right? And then because we don't have that here, the other answer to that question is going to be, or that statement is going to be, well, we have bars. What's the point?
I've been trying to poke at the bars over here, and there's a couple of new ones that are popping up. Like, for example, 401. Have you heard of that one?
I haven't been, but I've heard of it. It's
right next to Bourbon and Boots, and it's like right there, like right across from like the library, bar and grill, and like they're all clustered right there. And what I've found is I'm like, okay, if I bring the party near there's distractions. Like if they're like, I'm trying to do my best to incentivize and grow my business like extremely aggressive. For example, what was the last cover fee that you paid for a nightclub?
Oh, dude, I don't go to nightclubs. I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm sorry. But no, so the last place I played a cover at was. Well, that doesn't even count because I was just a ticket to a show technically. Oh, fuck me. It was probably like $10 to get into Sister like 4 years ago.
We charge like $5 to $7 like max. Yeah. And so there's like, you can muster up if you're like a broke college kid, like quarters and shit like that to like equal like $5 and then go party on a week. I did that all the time in Utah. I couldn't afford to go to anything. I was sneaking in like backstage and shit like that to a lot of like weird shit. And like speaking of that, I'm so upset that Panic at the Disco is no longer. I'm glad that he's having a kid and he's like, my family first. Like that's amazing.
That's
but like
shit,
bro, like they anyways.
Yeah, continue.
So but yeah, no, like I'm trying to stand out, and I love the different groups that are here, but nobody is doing what I'm doing. I've made sure what categories and what boxes we're filling in and what we're doing specifically, and I'm not seeing the equal like matchup between anybody.
Well, I'll answer with this. Nobody's doing what anyone is doing here. I think that's the issue. So, and the problem is I've gotten this consensus from comedians, from musicians of all colors, all
Yeah.
shapes and sizes of color, of like types of musicians, right? And nobody is doing really a whole lot of anything. Everyone's trying. Like everyone is putting their best foot forward. Like Buck D, Slums at Harvard, Savings, fucking there's a couple comedians, fucking Steph Darnell, Zach Abeda, Chuck Parker. These guys are trying, right?
Yeah.
They're trying their fucking best to do cool shit here.
Yeah.
And I would say personally, if he's not the top comedian in the city, he's in the top 3. Buck D, if Buck D has to go on his fucking social media and figure out why people aren't coming to shows, there's a fucking problem. In my opinion, there's a problem because there's this huge void here in Albuquerque.
What was the consensus? Did he finalize on an answer on
I'd
that?
have to go through it, man. There's like 100 and something comments, but like there's a void here for entertainment. Like there are bands, there are rappers, there are comedians, there are artists, like actually
the
artists and
best.
shit.
I'm sorry, the best types of people in those categories are here. I've like as a talent scout for festival.
That's my point. Is there's a ton of talent here, but for whatever reason, there's no like. And I personally think it's a mixture of the politics and violence in Albuquerque. That's my personal opinion.
They always say that, and I'm like, I don't know how to combat that.
You that's the problem. Is like it's an issue that gets solved over a long span of time, and it's the people who stick with it for at least a decade that's going to change it.
Johnny, right?
Yeah.
The TikTok dude.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing
He's a huge force behind entertainment change here right now.
right now. I've seen like my videographer friends and stuff like shooting for him like at the UNM like basketball. He just released
Yeah,
like
he
this.
just got a Lobo
Bro.
deal. Yeah.
This is what amazes me. People like me, I specifically me, how I've learned how entertainment works specifically and what I've found is successful, how I've been successfully able to like get 1,000 people like in a room. Not this type of New Mexico. I don't count the New Mexico scene as like my little like experiment because over here it's so incongruent to all the stuff that I've done in the past. Like Utah, I can have a specific system and have like a checklist and a routine that I've done for like 8 years in a row and be like, okay, if I do this, and then I get these results and these numbers by the end of the week, I can at least expect a minimum of like 800 ticket sales. And I will accurately get that in like Arizona or in Utah or in Idaho. In New Mexico, it's so fucking weird because I'll be like, hey, party, and only invite like 100 people with physical invitations with their name on it. Nobody else. And 800 people will show up. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And the problem is that with like science experiments, you have to like test it out like 20, 30 different times in order to be able to get like a consistency and be able to get some analytics and stuff like that. Over here, I've been very blessed to not have a party fail just yet. There was one. It was called Nightmare on Central. But this was...
Man, Central is a nightmare. Have you been down there?
Oh, dude. We went... No, you know what's even worse than that? Is Jam Spot.
Jam Spot. Why does that sound familiar?
The Jam Spot is right next to the Chemo Theater. And...
Yeah.
I'm not trashing on them. I love them. But the amount... The same reason why El Rey won't work with me or Sunshine Theater won't work with me immediately, even though I have cash in hand and I'm trying to book a date and I'm trying to solidify something and I'm trying to get everything on contract. The problem is that you have a certain culture in the artist community or in the talent community, and these venues are riding on getting a paycheck from these people, like becoming successful in their venue. So of course they're going to allow people like Subtronics or people like Sullivan King or Viva ABQ bringing in all these EDM artists that sell out, or bringing Too Zany, who is like in the hip hop community that does event coordinating. He brings in all these like rappers like Russ and all these like really big names over here like Kevin Gates. These people are going to sell out. They're bringing Snow the product. She's going to sell out in the Mexican Hispanic community over here. When I come in with my idea, I'm like, okay, hear me out. Instead of working with music artists that are not going to give you a good percentage anyways, because they're the music artists, they're the talent, they're bringing in their market. Right. They have their very specific audience, their target audience that are fans. Those people are specifically there to see that talent that they're paying for on the stage. With me, I turn around, I'm like, I don't like working with famous people anymore because I'm friends with a lot of them. And I know how they've gotten to where they get to. But the problem is that there's so much money that is untouched from just doing parties. If I tell you, hey, I'm bringing Luke Bryant down here, I promise you that a lot of the Hispanic and the black community here, they're going to be like, cool. Like Luke Bryant, I've heard of that name. Like, that's a country dude. Versus like a lot of like the white people that go to Dirty Bourbon. And then, don't act like that's not where they all congregate.
No, that's where they fucking congregate.
All of them congregate. Did you see the midget wrestling competition that they just held?
I heard about
Fucking loved it. Anyways,
I heard about it.
But anyways, like that type of ordeal where like you have specific demographics that are all separated versus, hey, let's throw a huge bash or a huge party. And now I get to go to UNM and throw flyers at every kid and be like, fucking show up. And we'll have like the 22,000 students that show up or that go to UNM show up to our parties versus the funnel of like only bringing one music artist and only getting like 1,000 people to show up.
So I would argue that based on what you just told me is that you're still, like, while it's a little more inclusive, you're still banging on a single demographic.
How?
Because you're getting college kids in, and you're getting college kids, and a lot of these college kids that come
22,000 kids go there.
Right.
We have Albuquerque. In the state of New Mexico, we have 2.83 million people that live in the state. But a good majority of them live in Santa Fe and Albuquerque. So let's say like 500,000 live in Albuquerque. Out of the 500,000 that live here, they're all widespread from different age groups, different types of things. And I know definitively that there is going to be 22 to 25,000 people that are all congregated within one spot. I don't even need to lift a finger and go search out these people by putting billboards and radio advertisements. I don't even need to go crazy. I don't even need to print out flyers. I can do an Instagram post and go over to the fraternities and the sororities and be like, if you guys put these on your pages and spread the word that I'm throwing a party, you guys all get in for free. And I'll even throw in a case of beer. And so all the fraternities and the sororities are doing all the work for me. And all the 22,000 kids are like, party! Because what started me on this like endeavor of attacking mostly the college demographic is I did a party. UNM lied to me. They lied to me, those bastards. They told me that 500 people were going to show up for an event called Red Rally, which is like their biggest like football game, like rivalry that they have with like NMSU or something like that. And they usually throw a big ass party on the grass field and they burn down a cowboy Aggie. Like,
yeah. And they burn down a thing down there in Cruces too. Yeah.
Basically, I went to that and I was expecting 500 people. This was in the heat, like the highest point of COVID, when everybody was doing like all their online shit and then they were barely transitioning back into school. So all the resources of the university, everybody's still supposed to be like masking and like distancing and all that stupid. Oh, fucking hate that. So basically I go and I set up all my equipment. I'm like, why are all the barricades and why is this stage so big for 500 people? I've performed for 7 years with some of the biggest, most famous people. I know what I need to perform with when it comes to 500 people. 4,000 motherfuckers showed up that night. And I
told you 500, idiot.
Yeah, no, they didn't want to pay me. I gave them my rate, and then they're like, can you work with us a little bit? Because it's like I'm like squeezing thousands of dollars out of like the festivals that I get hired for. And so I'm like, if this is a university, they get like not only like federally funded, but they also get like squeeze like millions out of tuition from all these students. So I'm like, you guys can pay me. And they were like, no. I got like barely like, I wanted to be nice and I didn't want to be like the music artist, like dickhead of like Albuquerque of like, yeah, no, you guys are going to pay me. They told me they were broke. So I was like, $200, fine. Whatever.
Oh my word.
200. I was like $200, whatever. I'm not going to bring any of my equipment, my flame cannons, my shit. I'll just show up. I showed up. 4,000 people show up there and I'm like, oh, I got screwed. I was so mad because I was like, these motherfuckers had 4,000 kids show up. And then I was like, wait a second. Why are 4,000 kids in the heat of COVID showing up? There's nothing. Still, there's nothing.
Well, that's my point, though, is that you have a great idea and you have a great premise of doing this about hitting these colleges the way you're doing it. Right? You're telling them free and alcohol in the same sentence. But
be the devil's advocate. What is the problem?
Yeah, but there is no problem. That's my thing. But the point that I'm bringing up is like you are filling a very certain void, but it's tough to compare that to, say, like a famous artist coming in, because I don't think they're like they're mutually exclusive, but they're not at war with each other. Because where you have like a Luke Bryan coming in, right?
They're about to get at war with each other.
But you're gonna have people between the ages of 18 and 50 showing up. Where at these parties, you're only having them between, like, let's be honest, fucking 18 and maybe
26 max.
Yeah, like 26, 24 max, right? That's my point. Is like you have your demographic and you own it quite well. And so to say that it's more diverse based on maybe ethnicity or race, sure, but it is exclusive to the, like, you're not going to get a fucking 35-year-old to show up. Hopefully.
I had like 2, but it wasn't a big deal.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like, and then, like, so, like, I brought up a little bit earlier about why I don't go out a whole lot, or why I don't go, like, comedy shows specifically in that post, right? So I don't have a whole lot of time.
I think you would if, for example, I know a secret, and I don't know if Revel's going to get mad at me for saying this, but they turned down Chris Rock. They turned down Chris Rock from coming to the Revel. And the reason why was they were still under heavy amounts of construction. They were still finalizing a lot of different things. But imagine that hard hitter.
Okay, yeah, no shit, I'd show up for that. But that's my other point, though. My other point why I didn't show up was because I didn't have time, and it's because it was the same local comedians going around, so I could always catch them later. Oh, yeah, if Chris Rock showed up to fucking Albuquerque, I'd trample over people to go see that.
Yes, but
yeah.
Imagine that type of talent. This is why I like a lot of the things that are happening with some of the local promoters, such as, like, for example, I'm going to say a compliment for Viva ABQ. They like filtering the local scene. They're putting my homeboys, Dankrupt, on some of their biggest show lineups. And the problem is, though, they're only paying them $100 versus the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that they get in for all of their production, all of the percentages that they share with all the venues and all this stuff. I think that there is a huge discrepancy with a lot of these artists depending on these promoter groups and these event groups. And the reason why I started this over here was not only to, like, financially, like, be like, I want to quit my 9-to-5 job. I quit my 9-to-5 job to start a business, and now I'm working like 24/7, and it sucks. But, like, here's the thing, though.
But you're doing what you love. There's a stark difference.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Well, you're doing your own. You're working for yourself. I used to love it, but
you're
working for yourself.
Well, here's the thing. I had other people show, dude. When you work at, like, the big commercial, like, level with all these famous people and all these big events and seeing like 15, 20,000 people in front of the stage, and you're like, wow, I was able to create an experience. I don't make music anymore because I'm focusing fully on creating an experience for people. This is the hardest fucking thing to sell in America. I say this all the time. I've done TED Talks about this, where basically the only thing harder to sell than an experience is religion. And quite literally, an experience, you're just paying to just show up and witness something. It's not a service. It's not a product. It's not something tangible. You're just looking around and then being like, and then
Well, I mean, it is a product if you're showing up to to see someone play, or you're talking like exclusively, like you're going to show up.
It's an experience. It's just an experience. Yeah. You're witnessing something, and then you're feeling something off of what you witnessed, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. Like that's what it is, and it's crazy if you break it down to that rudimentary level. That's what it is. If I was selling that type of a product and an idea, and it's even crazier to say how Spotify is getting billions, not millions, billions of dollars off of selling sound. Me going, like into the mic and clipping that and putting it on Spotify and getting millions of views off of that. They get billions of dollars off of that, while I get like 0.004%.
Yeah, I get the principle of what you're saying.
And so with this over here, though, I'm trying to basically build a platform for my friends that are down here. I'm doing it for 2 music artists that are down here, and I'm teaching them how to fill a room with 1,000 people, only holding their hand a little bit so they can do it themselves. They're already doing it so fucking well. They're following the method so perfectly. And the problem is that everybody has this dependency. For example, if you want to be a famous singer and get on the radio, how do you do that?
Fuck, dude, in this age, I have no idea.
Just off the top of your head, go craziest idea. What would be the quickest way to get on the radio?
Marketing through social media.
Marketing through social media?
Yeah.
Why through social media?
Because that's on everyone's phone. It's accessible. It's there. And the need for, at least on a smaller level, the need for a record label is dying. slowly, but it's dying.
Okay. So right there, you're telling me an independent route. What I was trained and the way that I have seen it and the way that it has been imprinted in my mind is that I have to go to Sony Capitol Music Records, or I have to go work with a record label, or I always see big music artists always talking about labels. And so I'm like, labels. Okay. And then coming to find out that labels don't make you money. They come to you while you are making money. And then they're like, we want a percentage. We will fast track
those 360 deals are a bitch, huh?
Dude, the contracts that they do with all these fucking music artists, they eat them alive. And then what they do is
because they're not actually, well, they're contracts, but they don't actually get money. All that money they're given, they're loans.
Oh my God, dude. It's so funny because I've sat in meetings where I've had to walk out because of the craziest shit that they say that nobody would believe me if I told you. For example, I will say one of those weird things. They specifically target a lot of black people, and not just black people, specifically the ghetto ones that are living in Atlanta, in New York, the same areas that they're having a lot of like issues in Oakland and stuff like that, because who are the biggest of the biggest names that have come out of the ghettos? Like Snoop Dogg, like Ice Cube, like Dr. Dre, like those hardcore people, like, for example, Eminem, like 8 Mile, like he's one of the big, like, you have some of the most hardship-driven people that have, like, dealt with the worst of the worst in their life, but they also make the most money. They have the best backstory. They have like, this, like, thing, and they take that drama, they take those issues that you're going through, and they sell that. They mass product that, and they find that mostly in the black communities, and they target the black communities, and what they do is they go up in front of you, and they're like, here's $20,000 in cash. Have you ever seen that before? No. Go buy yourself a chain. And so these kids are sitting there. They're like, they've never seen anything like that before. And so these people basically take them in. They sign these like momentary little contracts. Of course, these kids are not going to look at the contract or can afford a lawyer or have ever heard of anything like that before. They've never heard of the word perpetuity. So, of course, they're going to come in there and they're going to be like, here's my money. Here's a contract. Here you go. They go in immediately. They take that money. They don't realize that money, the contract is saying, this is not yours. This is just a loan. And this is for this much. You have to pay that back within an X amount of time. And then if you do A, B, and C, and then here's my favorite part. These people are in the ghettos, which are very gang-ridden. These communities are very like hostage driven, like with their people in their community. For example, if you are successful and you're in the ghettos, of course, a lot of the gang people and a lot of the next door neighbors and all that whole entire area, they're like, oh, what? You're trying to like move on from us? You're trying to like think that you're better than us? And then they have a reason to come after you and kill you. But if you stay back in the ghettos with all your money and all the stuff that you're creating and all that like movement that you have, and you try to help out those people, look at what's happening with Young Thug. Now, of course, he's been doing a couple of different things under the table that are illegal.
And for people who don't understand what's going on, do a little backstory.
Not Young Thug himself, but the whole label that Young Thug has with like 20, 30 people all went to jail. And they were hit specifically with RICO charges, which is just racketeering. They were doing drug trial. Basically, a lot of these people that were part of this whole entire debacle are innocent. And all they've been part of was getting money from their label, and they'd put it in their pocket, and they go back to the community and share the wealth with their community, trying to help it up. But because that community is ghetto and has all these gang members and all this stuff, they're like, oh, that's gang activity right there, RICO charge. And so they can't help out their community. And so, because if they help out their community, it's seen as like distributing money to like gang members and shit like that. And then beyond that, like if they leave their community, you have a target on your back from your community in your area. So it sucks. And so that's why I see these labels becoming monsters. And I want to bring up something real quick. You know how you just mentioned how basically like the concert scene and the party scene don't really have an issue with each other? They're about to have a huge war with each other, and it's because of Live Nation. I just had a notification pop up on my emails and all my stuff.
Well, they're getting investigated right now, right?
Ticketmaster, a couple different groups like that are definitely getting investigated, but this is my biggest problem that I'm having that I'm very, very, very scared of. So I got a notification that's saying, hey, do you want to be part of our Live Nation services? And I'm like, let me take a look at that. And I took a look at that. They're basically partnering with all the venues. So now they have control of all the venues. And now they're stepping in the scene for anything that has to deal with corporate, weddings, private events, stuff like that. So now, if you want to do your own personal concert like Danny or like, for example, any of these like bands, let's say Slums of Harvard. You're wearing a Slums of Harvard shirt. So basically, let's say Slums of Harvard has enough money to be able to rent out any of these like venues that fit more than 1,000 people. More than 1,000 people is definitely like under the realm of...
Are you
like,
listening, Toby? This is for you. He's the businessman of the slums, so
Yeah.
this is for you.
Yeah, Toby. Basically, any artist, this is a warning. If you have enough money saved up to go put a deposit down or pay all the venue fee, you have to go through Live Nation. Live Nation is upping everything on the pricing for all the venues. For El Rey specifically, that one is like, I think 1,183 tickets in total for that whole entire venue. There's a venue in Salt Lake City. I'm not going to name it, but this venue has only 800 person capacity and it's double layered. The person from Live Nation, let's say Mike, read that top line where that orange dot is.
Oh my fucking word. This is $12,000.
Yeah. The venues usually cost, just so you know, El Rey costs only like $3,000. $3,000 to rent out versus the $12,000 that you have to pay versus Live Nation. Now that is just for somebody like me that doesn't. Now I specifically worded my conversation very carefully, saying, "Hey, this is just for a very small, like itty bitty little like private event, maybe like 300, 200 people." I'm lying to them because I know their games. I used to work with them. I used to work with these big commercial companies that basically are like, "Oh, you're throwing a concert. You're going to have 1,000 people there. We're definitely going to make a huge percentage off of you." So that is their cheapest package. If I said that I was a party goer or a party promoter that has thousands of people, look at Shrek Rave or like the SpongeBob
Yeah,
Rave.
what the fuck is that? I saw that pop up on my Instagram.
From Live Nation. Those people are throwing that shit too.
So it's coming to Revel.
Yeah. Guess what? That is Live Nation stepping into my realm and now taking complete monopolization over everything that we're doing.
So this is happening. Like this is happening.
It's
100%
moving.
in
The-
progress.
The
like,
train is gone. Like it has been going on for a minute and nobody has been listening to me because I've been sitting there for 7 years. I've been with these people working on the backside, working on the back end, working in every realm that you can think of, from picking up the trash to being the singer on the stage to managing the big commercial music artists. These conversations have been happening in the shadows for years. And I've turned around and I'm like, no, this can't happen. There's no way that the government can let this happen. But look at Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is charging, like, for example, what was it? It was $17,000.
Taylor Swift.
That's not even the most expensive ticket. That was just like a mid-range, like,
Yeah, that was-
shitty seat.
Yeah.
For Taylor Swift. And then the government had to step in and be like, too many people are making noise about you. And like, it's like, and those people like lobby so hard with all these other people that are in government and they get away with literally murder. And nobody investigates them. Nobody can stop them. What do you think is going to happen with Live Nation? Already people are making a lot of noise about these people. And definitely, there's not going to be a label. There's not going to be a group of people that want to invest into me or work with me at the commercial level because they're going to know that where I stand, how I work, what I'm looking for, and what I can bring to the table is like not going to be in part or parallel with what they're doing with their other business partners at that level.
I was going to say, because they're in partnership with Live Nation, I would imagine.
You can't. I give it like 5 more, 10 more years. They're going to stream like this so perfectly where now it's like going to be as like for example, how, dude, it's just going to be so bad. The same way that you have to go get licenses and all this stuff to even like get involved with like alcohol or shit like that for venues or get permits from the city to do certain things. Everything is going to be taken over from Live Nation. And Live Nation is not afraid to keep going and keep eating up everything. And that's just how it works. Now, I am a very big supporter of capitalism. Don't get me wrong, this is a byproduct of capitalism. But here's the issue with that type of thing. The small guys now have nowhere to go. I'm having no choice. I have a friend in Utah that all the venues are becoming way too expensive for just 1 hour of rental. It gets way too expensive that he has to be forced to throw parties in a barn. In a horse barn. Guess who got hired to headline that? Oh, yeah. But I want you to tell me.
I'll party in a barn. Fuck it.
We had no less than, I would say, about like 6,000 kids buy tickets to that and go crazy with me. Literally, we threw it in a very inconspicuous space. We threw it in like a very like out of par, like type of location. And I feel like that type of thing is what I can like expand on. The reason why I'm so like heavy driven, and again, I'm going to say this on video, whoever watches this video, if you're a music artist, resource, whatever, I own flame cannons. I own smoke machines. I own lighting equipment, sound equipment. I own like a bunch of instruments. I can literally cue all that up and engineer for. I did it for Side Montero for their like last show that they did at like Sister Bar with Slums of Harvard. Like, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I want to be able to give all of my resources for free for any and every music artist over here, because it's just only going to get harder. This place is really hard to do any type of show, performance, get an audience, try to market. And when they tell you that you're going to, in talent, in the industry, we use a term or a phrase that's called eating shit. And you're going to have to go through that time period of eating shit. Comedians have it harder. I respect comedians at like such an, like those people getting in front of a group of people and trying to physically make them laugh. That is so fucking hard. So fucking hard. I love watching Kill Tony. Do you know who Kill Tony?
I just watched a brand new episode. Oh my God, Kill Tony. Okay. So, so the last episode, the last dude that went on, Weston Bennett, the guy who's super drunk, that
I have to watch
you
it.
haven't seen the new one?
I haven't seen the new one.
There's a guy that goes on at the very end. His name is Weston Bennett. He flies helicopters for the Army. Yeah. I went to college with that motherfucker. I see him get up, and I'm like, oh, no way. And then when he said what he did for a living, I was like, motherfucker. So I hit him up, and he's like, yeah, that was me. I'm like, dude. He took their beating like a champ, though. But yeah, no, it's funny, but you bring up Kill Tony, because I think that as the comedy scene here grows, because I know that copying things is like the cardinal sin of all comedy, but a format like that in Albuquerque that encourages comedy.
I had a conversation about that here.
Comedians, that would be like, it's hard to do that and not call it a fucking ripoff or something like that.
How do you? Okay, here's the thing though.
That format would be great here.
Here's the thing though. How about this? Because in the party scene, I'm seeing this state to state with other event coordinators I've worked with, that all of us have it, like, it's been years since we all worked together, but we're all spread out all over the country now. And I'm over in New Mexico. Another one of us is all the way in Washington. One of my homies that's in Utah throws a party. He has a flyer that looks certain, like in a certain manner, looks perfect, like it has a certain like way of like grabbing people's attention and stuff. They mimic it over in Washington. And then I hit up my friend. I'm like, do you see how this person's copying you? He's like, yeah. And it's getting a shit ton of momentum over there. And I was like, I have a question. I'll ask permission. Can I copy it over here and see how well it does? He's like, yeah, sure. So the way that we're all marketing is mimicking each other, but we're finding a shit ton of success in that realm. And then it leads me back to thinking about what I heard about the theory of like, why Walmart is so popular and what happens to society when you limit everybody into a certain funnel and you just try to leave the door wide open to just not having the same types of things always happen in like the most popular thing. For example, I go to Walmart because they have not only everything and every option, but they also have like a variety of different things within the area that adds more value. And so I compare that to music artists over here. If we don't have a variety of music artists over here that all can give us different flavors, different things, different stuff.
I 100%, because it's only heavy metal and rap. That's it.
You go to Vegas, you get everything under the sun over there. You go to Austin, Texas. You go to Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. You go to Miami, Florida, New York, California. These places are oversaturated with different forms of talent, which bringing in more demand and more like, oh, yo, there's stuff to do. There's more stuff to see. There's more stuff to participate in. That is the first thing, is that we have to have a variety. We can't have everybody just funneled into one genre. Everybody has to do. I love savings. I love Rylan Oz, who is a rapper. I love Pocket Elephant, who is like a DJ.
Yeah,
and
for
so,
him.
yeah, like legit. You gotta have him on. He's such a sweetheart. But basically, we have a good variety. We have that foundation here. Problem. I'm stepping in here, and I'm like, okay, I'm more than willing to be the guinea pig and the punching bag of suffering and spending all my money and using up all my sponsorships and all my resources to figure out what works. So then I can give that rubric over here to the rest of the music artists and the rest of the event coordinators so they can pop off. Because if they pop off, then I will be able to pop off too. It's not like a competitive thing. People always put it in the category of like...
It's a feast, not a famine.
Yeah. Everybody is always... Over here is turning into such a toxic event scene because they're all... Already the resources are so limited, so obviously they're going to eat each other to try to see who can get that spot. And then I step in out of state. I've only been here for a little bit of time, and I'm like, guys, why are you guys like fighting over an opening spot when I'm getting like multiple thousands of dollars from these festivals and getting on the festival lineups over here? Like, what are you guys doing different? And then I have to go in and not overstep and be rude and be like, hey, you're doing it wrong. Like, I don't want to have I feel bad because they don't know what to do. And it's like, I have a friend.
So what should they be doing? Before you go on, what should they be doing?
They got to know their worth. And the best way that I could describe that is what my friend explained to me when I was first starting out in the event industry. He's Mormon. And I've compared this. I can apply this to a lot of different things, but this is one of the things that always sticks into my head about knowing your value and knowing your worth and what you're capable of. He served a mission, I think, in Africa. And basically he saw this program where they go outside of Johannesburg in South Africa, like the bottom of Africa, and they go out of the city. The cities over there are like well developed. People think that it's like still like very like the slums and everything, and they live in like these like tin roof favelas, but like no, like they're almost as well established as like New York or Dubai. And so basically they have these programs that go out of the city into the deserts and find these African tribes, and they take all the children, and then they're like, here's some resources stuff, we're going to borrow your children for like a day or two, and they take these children back into the city and show them all the amazing things instead, because all they see, the kids there, all they see is the best thing that they could become is the warrior or the tribe inside of their little like area, inside of their little like group. And so they're like, I'm going to work so hard to be the best warrior or hunter, and that's all I know I can be. They take them into the city, and they're like, we have doctors. We have TVs. We have all these different crazy things. They show them all this crazy stuff, feed them some ice cream and all of that shit, and show them what they're capable of becoming, being part of, and what they can build. And then take them back over to their little tribes, drop them off, and be like, okay, do something with your life.
That's a sick joke.
No, it's not. Because what they do is once they drop them off and tell them to be better and grow up and actually go get these resources and bring them back to their tribes, they can still...
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, they do it. They do it because that's how these tribes and these cultures in Africa still stay alive.
I get the sentiment, but Jesus Christ, they don't drop off a couple grand either? They're just like, hey,
no, listen. They give them resources, obviously. Or else they're not just coming up in white vans and like, we're taking your children. And it's like...
That's what I saw. It's like, hey, look at the skyscrapers and go fuck yourself.
No. They have pallets of water, and they're like, give us one child for like a couple hours. It's like, not thinking about it, it sounds really wrong. But
yeah, dude, that's kind of fucked.
No, but it's like that concept where now these kids have seen the world, have seen what they're capable of and becoming, and these resources that they can have part of. And the problem is these music artists are like, okay, I'm going to make music. I'm going to go sell all of my music to a label and then give them all the control, when in fact you are capable of bringing 1,000 people in front of a stage yourself. You just got to market. You just got to learn how to talk with people, negotiate, and set up a contract, and being able to get us. I never have to pay for anything. I've been very, very, very blessed to be able to go get these resources and work with them in partnership and help give them incentive to work with me, and I have something of value that they want in return, and be able to negotiate to a point where I know how that business transaction works, where I can get them to fund everything, and then I can throw my party and then be able to financially like pay my bills and then put food on the table because of those parties and stuff like that. These artists think that it's only one road. And that's why Live Nation is so successful. It's because they've painted this big picture where, hey, you just got to work with the label. And then the whole entire music labels, when they need a tour and they need shows, they work with us. And then we give them all the shows and set up everything, and then we take a majority of the money, and then we just pay you up front like $20,000 while they make millions of dollars. Kanye
Continue. I'm just going to check the cameras and the mics.
Kanye made a stem player. Like, he made a little stem player where it has all of his basically he has like little tracks, and you can, depending on what you press on the stem player, you can be able to like listen to certain different like tracks like broken up and stuff. He released that into the market with like private music that he was releasing with his album, and you can only get access to that through buying that little portable stem player. And it costed $200 to be able to buy that thing and have access to it. But it was so cool because you can be able to just hook up your phone to it, or be able to just like do your own thing with it, and you can keep that and be able to download more tracks and stuff. Like, it was such a cool little concept. He paid $200 for that shit. Oh yeah, we gotta have the sponsor, the Hatch.
Yeah. I was looking at the cameras and I'm like, fuck, I don't fucking stick those right there.
Yeah, there we go. We got. You know, I can't even eat hot Cheetos. I'll cry if I eat hot. You know what? Would it be wrong of me to try to attempt to cry on camera?
We could do that afterwards if you like. That's just kind of hot, not gonna lie.
Is it really hot? I can't even eat hot Cheetos, or else I will cry. Like, I will be on the toilet for hours if I no. Such a sissy. But for the camera, I will. But the reason why I bring up Kanye and his stem players is because he put that out himself. He worked with the company STEM, but he put that out himself. He was able to like facilitate everything, and he sold over 11,000 units within the first hour of it coming live. Now, 11,000 times 200, that's well over a couple million, I think. Let me see real quick. Let me cross-check my shitty math.
But that's also Kanye West.
That's himself. The point is, that's his brand that he's established himself without working with anybody else, without doing anything else, without having any other representation. It's just him and his brand.
But again, to push back on that, what year did he do that?
This, like a year or two ago?
Yeah, that's 2020 Kanye West. That's not 1991, 94 Kanye West coming up, watching first runs of the Chappelle Show.
Again, you have to look at what is out there that is being done, the craziness that these people are doing, the mountains that these people are moving, and seeing what they're capable of. So you can see what you can work towards.
I
because
totally
if you're
agree.
limited to this...
I totally agree. No, I'm pushing back just because to set it not realistic, but to understand, like, yeah, he did it by himself, but he's also fucking...
Well, of course,
Kanye
if Drake
West.
signed a contract with Nike and be like, I'm going to sell a shoe for like $300,
Yeah.
like, he's going to sell over... Just alone within like Salt Lake City, he sold like 25,000 tickets, all starting off at like $90. So he's making millions and millions of dollars just off of one city. Obviously, these people have built and established their brands with a lot of help, with a lot of momentum, with a lot of years under them of having a lot of marketing. The average, in order to make the next Post Malone or Ariana Grande or Taylor Swift in this day and age, will cost you $782,000, above $750,000, in order to be able to have enough funding to be able to distribute you throughout the whole entire, just the country, not globally, just the country. And that will only get you just a little bit, maybe a month of marketing, just that much money. And nobody has $750,000 to spend on something like that, and knowing where to put that money and funnel them and use those channels to get you out in the best way possible. Nobody knows how to do that, other than just the big distributors that have everything unlocked and monopolized on themselves. They have those resources only like to themselves. And then they force everybody to just be like, you have to sign with us, you have to work with us. And what's really shitty about this endeavor is that labels now are going crazy. And they're like, you know what? We need more Post Malones and Taylor Swifts to make money off of. Let's sign 1,000 music artists all within like this year. And they'll sign 1,000 brand spanking new music artists that they find off of TikTok or off of YouTube or something locally that's making money. They find 1,000 of them and they sign them. And they all look at them really closely throughout like the first few months. And then they're like, that one right there, that one from Tennessee, she's making a lot of noise. Or that one from Texas, that rapper right there, he's making a lot of noise too. Everybody else, thank you, have a good day. they kick everybody off the label, and they put all their funding into those two once they find them, and then try to shoot them off. And then we get something like a Don Toliver, or we get somebody like a Swati or like a Cardi B or something that comes out of that whole entire endeavor from all of those resources getting pushed on those artists within that preliminary period. And then we see what America reacts to. Let's see how they react to them.
So what would you say is, because like I'm not extremely well versed in music, but let's juxtapose a Taylor Swift. I know different genres, but let's compare a Taylor Swift to a Cardi B. Cardi B is kind of falling off. I haven't seen a whole lot of new stuff from her.
Yeah.
Me, personally. I'm the definition of a.
Let me ask you a question. What's the lifetime of a stripper?
Oh, dude, until they get pregnant.
which can happen pretty quickly. Like,
but my point is those, like, I'm the most I'm the definition of a general consumer when it comes to rap. Like, I cannot get in the weeds about underground rappers or SoundCloud or like even like the mainstream shit going on right now. But I haven't seen a whole lot of Cardi B stuff coming out.
Yeah.
But then I see Taylor Swift put out a brand new record and it goes absolutely viral, and like all 20 songs are in the top.
Billboard,
10
Billboard,
iTunes,
literally the only person like her.
So why does that happen compared to a Cardi B, where we have like a firecracker compared to a long burning fire?
First of all, I hate to talk badly on music artists, and I hate to talk in a manner that
opinion is talking shit.
Well, here's the thing. These people come from really hard working backgrounds where they've had to suffer. They've had to eat shit in the worst shit to deal with. For example, these people do not come from the nice backcountry sellable like family. You wanna know why Taylor Swift is so good? Is because she's more family friendly than anything else. She can be generally thrown everywhere, and everyone will accept that. Everybody will accept that.
Now, is that a product of her being in her genre, or is that just because...
Was she built from the beginning? And a lot of people have fought with me on this topic of like, you have to have some sense of just like, for example, where you're family friendly. You're kind of like, you have to like, yeah, if you, obviously certain different things and certain different genres like blow up. But at the same time, she's been able to sustain her like likability and her like sellability because she's been able to hit all markets. Teardrops on My Guitar, you know that song. Everybody, Teardrops on My... Why would you bring up Taylor Swift and not know who
Because she goes viral and I managed to find it. I managed to see it. I don't listen to her music. I can't say that I like her or don't like her. I just know that her longevity... I knew about Taylor Swift when... like Kelly Clarkson was huge in music when I was a little kid, and then I still know about Taylor Swift being big in music, but Kelly Clarkson's a talk show host now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's why I bring her up.
The problem is you can only go so far if you sell ass. There's only so you have a time limit.
It's a substance.
It's
a substance problem.
You have to figure out what is going to be, because at the same time, look at Imagine Dragons. Imagine Dragons is still doing world tours. Still.
Are they really?
They are still doing not country tours, not certain different arena like, oh, we got bought out by like a corporate thing, we'll show up and do like no, they're doing world fucking tours because they have a very good product that they have expanded on.
They have a sellable product for sure.
And it's family friendly.
You'll hear that everywhere from like a radio station to a Walmart to a gym.
Name one song that has a cuss word from Imagine Dragons.
I listen to a lot of their stuff. I know that they don't cuss.
How about One Republic?
Yeah.
They cuss?
I forgot all about them. Holy shit.
Yeah, no. Do they cuss in their music?
Generally, no.
How about Train? You know who Train is?
Oh, Soul Sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck me.
Yeah,
my god.
Yeah. No. These people, like Jason Mraz, even like these. You know these names, but these names like legitimately have never cussed, and they've had a very good longevity because they've been able to like. I can still play them in radio stations. I can put their music from Spotify immediately onto like a commercial for like State Farm or something like that. I can do a lot of crazy stuff because the product itself has to be general enough for all audiences. One of my coolest things that I see that Sesame Street has fallen off from when I've used to watch. No, but
when Big Bird got vaxxed, you didn't like that?
No, I didn't like it when they were talking about transgendered snuffleupagus. Okay, No, but yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
No, but quite literally, like they would bring celebrities on
Right.
onto Sesame Street, and that's how you know you like really famous. Is like if you can take that brand and put it on. But at like sex does sell, but sex only sells to a specific market.
It's interesting you bring that up, honestly, specifically with Sesame Street, because a good example of that's Katy Perry. She went through a phase where it was sex sells, and then she hopped right off that train, went back to making music that's very marketable.
She blew up off of pop.
Yeah.
She blew up off of pop. Then she went a little bit crazy like Miley Cyrus. And then she went back to pop. But if you look back, a good example of like where's she at right now? She's making pop. She went back to the grassroots of what was successful, what system was blowing up and what was good. You look back at, hell, Miley Cyrus is a good example. Yeah. She went from Disney, making Disney music, being Hannah Montana, then doing music outside of that was like kind of still around that range of like country / pop. Yeah. Then she started going nuts. Yeah. Started doing cocaine, hanging out with Wiz Khalifa, doing all this crazy shit, just like twerking her bones. And basically that she went off the rails. And then look at her now. She's still performing at festivals like Coachella, Glastonbury, Lollapalooza, but she's gone back to the rock and roll / like country. Yeah. Like, she's killing it, too. She just dropped a song that is like, going everywhere.
That's in my playlist, I'll be honest. I like that song.
I hate how you know Flowers from, like, the new song from Flowers, but you don't know Teardrops on My Guitar from Taylor Swift. Culturalize yourself.
I know, dude. But yeah, it's just interesting to me what kind of, what breeds longevity. And
the problem is that there isn't a recipe for that. That is something that is just like,
isn't there though? Because the stigma behind bands like Imagine Dragons is like they're so commercialized and generic.
What makes you the Beatles or like Elton John or Michael Jackson or Elvis? Name an Elvis song.
Well, those are all like trailblazers though. Like
those are the kings and
those
queens.
Weren't things before them.
Aretha Franklin, like you have Winnie Houston.
Well, okay, there was a lot before Elvis Presley. He's notorious for fucking stealing music.
Of course, him and Eminem are the most famous white people to culturalize appropriate music. But look at how amazing these people are in those categories. What gets you to that God status? Like what centralizes you in culture? What specifically do we feed on? What are we looking at? And I actually heard a DJ talk about this. DJs are really like, if you want to study music, study DJs a little bit because they know where the culture goes. We see a lot of different things. One of the really funny things about DJs is that there was this one, I was watching off of this podcast, and he turned around and he was like, I can tell you when the market is going to crash based off of the music that I play. And I'm listening to his concept of this. It's a crazy concept, right? Slowly over time, he's been playing like hip hop tracks where it's like boom. It's like just like slow BPM where it's like 80, 70, 60. This is where like T-Pain, like Realms and like Nelly and like
that's Candy Shop right there.
Yeah, welcome to the candy. But now look at what is really going crazy right now, where you have like EDM artists like Skrillex, Subtronics, all of it, where it's like bum 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 bum. Like it's getting higher and higher and faster and moving faster. The concept that he explained is that now at the nightclubs, a lot more people are pushing that higher BPM and stuff like that, and it matched up with the same time that when he was DJing around the recession, he was seeing that when it was going to crash and when it was it was such a weird concept, but the science of like looking at the history of like what music was popular throughout the years, and I was like fact checking while he was like talking. I'm like, no fucking way. He was naming the popular songs that were like every DJ was downloading, everything that was like popping off that year, even in like radio culture, like what was going off, and it was slowly getting faster and faster, and then collapse happens, and then we reset and we go back to like the slow BPM, and then goes back. Right now we're playing like 130.
Skrillex just made a comeback. We're kind of fucked now, right?
Yeah, no, we're fucking screwed, dude. Like Jesus. First of all, his song that he just dropped is so fucking good.
That's interesting.
I hate how good he is.
That's interesting.
It's a weird concept to think about, right? Huh. But that type of stuff, my biggest question is, how do you get a good pattern of a product. Where, like, for example, like I love watching like there's this artist that I'm like fascinated by. His name is Jacob Collier. I'm so sorry if I'm taking up so much time.
No, you're not. No, I felt my thing vibrate. I was like, the fuck? I put
there's
you on
this-
silent.
There's this music artist, kind of like, you know how like people look at like Charlie Puth and they're like, oh, he has like perfect pitch and he's like a music nerd and all that. Jacob Collier is 100 times more than that, and he like literally fluently understands like everything about music theory. It's so fucking nuts to watch him talk and how he manipulates an audience. But looking at him talk, and he's done interviews and certain things where he's studied this too, and he can't really like finalize or conceptualize this because the product itself of like the patterns and the chords of like what is popping off. Like, for example, I can look at certain songs that were like, people study this religiously, understanding what is popular on Billboard and what is the country consuming at large and why they like it and what's making it, like what certain chords are like making certain thing happens. And the problem is that it's all entirely based off of situation and your lifestyle. Like, for example, what are you going through right now? The hardships that everybody in general is going through right now.
I would say the most generic one, well, not even generic, but the most common one right now is financial. I mean, inflation's outpacing everyone's wages.
Everybody's looking at this is a very important thing to study that nobody has really like sat down and understood. If you look at the music that was blowing up, like back to the DJ that mentioned the inflation and the market crashing and everything, let's go back to World War I and go back to the Roaring 20s, that right before the crash and everything. That type of market, that jazz was going really, really, really quick and going at such a high, fast music pace right there. That's what was popping in the Roaring 20s right before the market crash, and we had like the biggest depression ever. And then we went back into World War, and then it started slowing up with like the R&B and everything, and then we started having a little bit more funk, and then it started like progressing a little bit more. So that type of like science right now that I'm looking at, I love studying nerding things like this because it's like so you wouldn't think that would be like a real thing to like study or like would be a real issue that you could be able to identify. Like,
well, music does follow culture and music does follow society, and
it's just weird
it's a direct reflection for sure.
But it's weird to think about though.
Yeah.
No, where like
it's interesting to hear it articulated like outside, because I had to take some bullshit fucking music classes when I was in college, and
that's how they get money out of you.
Yeah,
They're not teaching you shit.
Yeah, and I was like, but that was one of the common themes though, is how it kind of like, you know what I mean? And no, it's good to have that articulated because it's something you recognize, but it's not something you acknowledge.
I don't think we all recognize. I don't think we recognize it as a mass. And what's really weird is that I want to see what formulates popularity within your community based off of, like, for example, Johnny Jams. Johnny Jams? James. I'm so sorry, dude. I've like worked with you shaking hands like multiple times. Like, I'm so sorry. He, first of all, sweetheart. He's the only one doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, the reason why he exploded is because, and again, I was going to answer your question with like what gets popular here, or what's going to build out like a crowd, and what's going to build notoriety, I would guess, too.
But look at him. I specifically want to talk about what makes it...
Exactly. It's because how genuine he is, and it's because of how directly he reflects the New Mexican and Hispanic culture. Because people in the community that watch him, that are on TikTok, that are on Instagram...
I want to add one thing, too. He's consistent.
Well, yes, for sure. He's a hardworking individual, but the people in the community can look at him and be like, I can do that one day. You become something for your tight-knit community to aspire to be, or it's like, well, I guess I could do that. That's me up there.
He's so funny, too.
For a lot of kids, they look at him and say, that's me. He's a fucking TikToker. He's kind of a comedian, kind of, sort of. He just became a podcaster. He has a fucking weed strain.
He was rapping at my show.
And he's a rapper. He's a musician first. But he's all these things where it's like, and the big appeal, at least in my opinion, would also be, because let's be fucking real, New Mexico's 51st in education, right? So they look at someone like that, yeah, we're at the bottom. We're dead last.
I know that we're number one in the whole entire like country, pushing the world like country for like kidnapping. The FBI just dropped that statistic. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we're dead last. No, we lost to Alabama. We lost to fucking DC. Yeah, we're dead last.
God damn it, Alabamans.
Yeah, so people can look at what he's doing like, okay, you don't need a college degree to do that. You don't need a formal education. You need hard work.
I hate my whole entire fucking life. Everybody's been like, you need a college education in order to be able to. Like, I love my family. I love my parents. I love everything. But everybody,
away. Everyone's kind of seeing the facade of what that is, and I think that's why he's so popular, and because he's charismatic as hell. Like, I'll listen to his podcast every now and again, and I don't agree with everything he has to say, but what he has gotten really good at is he has been able to build a rapport and bring out some of the best in the guests that he's had. And it's very interesting what he's doing. And again, I think he's a direct reflection of the community, and he sticks with it. Like, for instance, a big reason why I said yes to Chop Chili as the sponsor of the podcast, not because they're fucking paying me, although it's nice to get paid to do what I do, but it's because it's a New Mexico brand. They are from New Mexico. They're bred in New Mexico.
I like the local stuff.
Yeah.
I never got into local shit until I moved here.
Because it's the community. That's what makes Albuquerque thrive. That's what makes New Mexico New Mexico. Aside from the negative, the number one positive of this state is how tight-knit the community is and what the culture is here. Shout out to fucking Zane of Chop Chili. So my point is that
Zane.
Yeah, when
fucking amazing.
when you see someone like Johnny, and the biggest sponsor that he promotes is a local dispensary,
which is it's weird seeing,
right?
Not only he doesn't have a preference, he does it all. He does it from the local little like the dispensaries to like the biggest university like that we have here. Like he does it all,
but it's all New Mexico. That's his brand. That's what he loves, and like, and I have no interest in lying. Like I have every intention of leaving. Like I have every intention of moving out of New Mexico at some point.
When have you moved before?
No.
Like you've always been here?
I'm born and raised here.
Please, for the love of God, leave and then come back.
That's the thing though, right? Is so and Buck D, to go back to him, he went on Johnny James' podcast and they had a great episode together. And one of the things he brought up is like, people will tell me that I'm one of the best comedians here, that and that, but I will never, like, on a broader scale, I'm not going to get my flowers. I'm not from New Mexico, because how tight New Mexico is that the way it is. And long story short, Johnny James agreed. But as much as I love New Mexico and I love Albuquerque, and that's one of the my favorite things of doing this podcast is I'm able to talk to these people who have every intention of getting famous and building up their community and staying. Yeah. And I love talking to them, and I would love to be able to go out, do my thing, whatever that turns out to be, as along with.
Have you picked a spot yet? Have you been already
Austin?
I want to
go to Austin.
Please do.
Yeah, I want to go to Austin, but I would love to be able to garner enough influence and garner enough physical resources to bring it back to New Mexico, to bring this to what it should be.
I'm literally that.
Yes.
Except just literally.
And that's why I love talking to you, man. And that's why I was so happy that you got with Bug. That's why I'm happy that the slums knew who you were. The fact you're working with Safe, like there is so much fucking talent here. It kind of pisses me off. I'll be honest. It kind of makes me mad how much talent is here that doesn't get blown up.
The same way that I explained how the Africans take those children to show them better and then go back to their communities so they can keep their communities alive and bring them more and advance them, is what you and me are talking about. It's basically, I went to Utah, I toured the whole entire country, I worked with the biggest of the biggest music artists, figuring out how it worked, came back, was able to finalize, now have a company, now I'm actually seeing results from my efforts helping other people and then seeing them expand too. I got to see one. I'm not happy until I get at least more than 10 people doing the same system, but now I have one of my people that I've worked with has brought 500 people by themselves in a small little venue, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Right.
And now I'm seeing that unfortunately that's just you're gonna have to leave, and it sucks.
No, and trust me, dude, because
I hate how that's the only way though, is that you have to go out there and then bring stuff back.
I want to bring things back though. That's my point. Is I would love to be able to say that I really did help out Albuquerque, and I think at least I'd like to think that my goal for this year, to kind of backtrack, my goal for this year is to just go hard as fuck, and for a reason we can talk about off camera, I'm not going to go to college anymore.
Yeah.
And because I really
Were you in college?
I was at UNM. I was doing film school.
This whole entire time?
Not this whole time. I went
Okay.
for like 2 semesters or so.
Okay, I was like, I'm so sorry.
Because I have an associate's. Because I went to a military school down in Roswell, and it was 4 years of high school.
Yeah.
And then they also had 2 years of college, and
Yeah.
it was the same rate. It was the same everything. It was actually a little bit cheaper. And I was like, I like it here. I'm comfortable here. I'm fucking 18, coming 19 years old. I don't know what the fuck I want to do. I'm comfortable, and my family had the means. So I was like, fuck it, I'll stay. I'll get this fucking participation trophy of a college degree, and I'll just fucking chill. And I loved it. But anyway, my point is because I have this free time, I'm going to just go hard as fuck on this podcast and just start growing it organically.
Yeah.
And then I have a friend of mine that lives in Austin. I'm visiting Austin for the first time in April, and my goal is to visit there 3 times. Try to figure out what the fuck is going on out there.
Have you been on other podcasts?
Yeah, I've been on a few, and I love.
What is your favorite one?
Oh, I'm not gonna say what my favorite one was to go on.
Okay.
Because they're all amazing, dude. Like, seriously though, I have not had I've only been on 4, but I have had an amazing time for different reasons on each one. I will say the most unique one that I went on was Bucks, the BS show.
Yeah.
That was the most unique for a few reasons, because the age difference, first of all, the shortest age difference in that room was 12 years.
Whoa.
It was a live stream, so that was the first time I ever did a live stream. So that was very unique, and it was extremely multicultural in that.
Yeah.
So their producer is fucking straight fucking white. Buck, obviously African American, and then I believe 6. I'm probably gonna get this wrong.
Promoter?
Yeah, his
name is 6.
Yeah, he's Hispanic. He's Hispanic.
He's the one that did the B.O.B. show for all of us.
Well, I think he's like Hispanic, some sort of Asian. There's Oriental Asian in there somewhere. I think. But my point is, it was very multicultural, and but what was awesome was the generation gap.
Yeah.
And having this different kind of conversation and getting that type of thing, and then having an interaction with a live audience via the chat, like all of that was super interesting. And I want to get to a point, like honestly, what I would love to do is get to a point that, like by summer of this year, where I have the audience, and then I have the equipment needs, and then and then I have use my buddy Joey, where we can sit down and we can live stream all of this, have an interaction going, because I know that live streaming kind of boosts your interactions, it boosts your engagement, and all.
I have never tried because I'm too scared.
Yeah. So I have a funny story about that. So my first podcast I ever fucking did, my first podcast was this one, obviously, but it was a live stream. And I was a dumbass. Yeah. I bit off way more than I could chew, because we got to a point where, so I was live streaming off of that laptop, actually, that hardly fucking works.
There's so much dust on it right now.
Yeah. It hardly fucking works. It only works if you plug it in now. And it legit takes like 5 minutes to boot up. Yeah. And we only use that for when my buddy comes in and does a moderation for us, and we only use it for web browsing. Yeah. Web browsing and screen capture. That's all it is. But what we did is we fucking set up in my garage where I used to shoot, and we set it up to where we had this table at the very back, and then we made it into so this is like a T shape. It was more of an L shape.
Yeah.
And it was me and like 6 of my homies, and we all sat around, and we had one fucking mic, so I just stuck it in the middle. It's a shitty $30 mic. And we just live streamed, and the only camera was the fucking webcam, and it was so bad. It was so bad.
Did you get some people?
Yeah, dude, we had like 15 people watching, and it was so bad.
No, that's so fucking good. Because you got no. Because here's what amazes me about live streaming is that you can get somebody in real time.
Yeah.
Like to just block everything and just focus on you and what you're saying and tune in online to what you're doing in the moment, which is nuts to me.
It's nuts to me too. And the big draw to it is we were doing it election night. And so we were following like we had Fox News, CNN, and then we had, I think it was BBC. We had a third like out of America that was doing the coverage because our elections are so big.
Yeah.
And so I love the idea of it. I love the enjoyment of it. And then also what would really help me out in the back end is having the ability to live stream it, and then have the ability to get one of those, I don't know what, like a control box where you switch between the cameras, and that does my editing for me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't have to go in the fucking back end and edit out I don't edit out anything.
Have you heard of Studio 519?
But yes, and that's where I did the April Fools. And that was a lot of fun, but the reason why I'm not, because I've had a couple of people tell me, like, including them, like, you need to go do shit down there. And the reason why I won't, have you been there?
I have.
You have, right?
I have.
It is fucking beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
it is an amazing facility.
Free.
It's free. The fact that it's free, the fact that it's public access, the fact that it goes on television, like that, stuff like that.
If you don't use it, they will take it down, though. But that's all funded by taxpayer money.
Right. The fact that it's free to the public and that it enables artistry is such a beautiful thing. But the reason why I don't use it is, first of all, convenience. I don't have to. I don't have to fucking drive 20 minutes to get there. I have to drive 20 minutes to get there, and I have to walk down my stairs to get here. A. B. I can get fucking slammed here. I can get belligerent drunk and then literally pass out right there if I want to, and I won't get in trouble.
You know what you would do very good with? I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
You need to have a debate or host, at least minimum, at most host.
So that's
A debate.
That's something
like an argument debate.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the guy to do that.
Why not?
But it's just I've had experience doing it. But I would like to believe that. How do I put this? Like, I would love to be able to enable someone else, or at least provide the platform where it's like, because the reason why I started doing this, to be honest, one of the reasons is I hate the way our debates are ran. Whether it's a local level or a national
Can you
level.
tell me the issue?
Yeah, you're going to ask someone to fix climate in 60 seconds. That's absolutely bananas to me. That's why the Joe Rogan episode with Bernie Sanders popped off so hard, because he got 3 hours with an extremely popular politician.
I just watched a video of what is his most craziest arguments, debates, and they had a compilation. His top 3 were between him and Steven Crowder.
Yeah, I saw that.
Him and Candace Owens.
She's bananas too.
And him and Matt Walsh.
Oh, they had a good debate about gay marriage. And Joe Rogan, in my opinion, won that one. Yeah. Because I think that... Oh, that's a whole other conversation. We can get into that for sure. That's a whole other conversation. But my point is I would... The reason why I started doing this is because I think it's fucking ridiculous to ask somebody to explain their position or explain a plan to fix such a fucking global issue in 60 seconds.
Yeah, I do agree that trying to fix the issue is it, but what about acknowledging the issue? That's what the biggest issue that I'm seeing.
Acknowledging is one thing. Whether it's like to say you have a stance on something, yeah, that takes 15 seconds. But then explain it enough to where someone wants to elect you a president, that's insane to me to do that in 60 seconds. So I was like, okay, if we're going to have a conversation like that, that's fucking insane. But then obviously at a large scale, there is an audience for 3 to 4 hour content with a politician, right? Because Rogan will have Bernie Sanders and then turn around and have Brian Redband on.
Do you see how many people were advocating for Joe Rogan to actually moderate? Me!
Me! I was advocating for that. Are you fucking kidding me? Dude, no, because how beautiful would it have been? In all seriousness, right? How beautiful would it have been if it was in the JRE studio, and it was Donald Trump and Biden. No, seriously, but obviously there's obvious reason why Rogan wouldn't do that, and he's explained that to fucking no end. But I think that if you're gonna ask somebody something like that, because I'll never, unless it comes up, I'm not gonna fucking just start with that, obviously.
Yeah.
But like your positions on music, your position on how you're gonna do stuff, I'm not gonna ask you to say that in 60 seconds. I want to hear yeah, right. Because I want to hear everything you have to say. And I've had a couple people on here say some real stupid shit, say some real fucked up things.
Like what?
Oh God, it was okay. So I'll bring up my own example. So I got...
oh, that's not fair. He's throwing himself under the bus.
I'll throw myself under the bus. So I've said some pretty unsavory things about transgenders, and I've gotten some messages about it. But the important thing about why I do what I'm doing is because I'm not just going to say that and then drop it and walk away due to time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give myself an excuse. No, if I'm going to say something stupid, or if I'm going to say something that'll piss somebody off or offend somebody, I want to give myself... the room and the time to explain myself. And if after my explanation you don't agree with me, fine. If you don't think I'm educated, fine, that's your prerogative. And if I'm going to give myself that, I'm sure as shit going to give my fucking guest that.
Yeah.
Very rarely have I said like, hey, we got to cut it off at 2 hours. We got to cut it off in an hour and a half. That's been very rare.
Yeah.
But But my point is that being able to give someone, so you originally started with like hosting a debate. I would love to do that, but like,
I personally
just don't know if I'm that guy yet.
You are. You are
that
at
guy
a
yet.
personal experience of seeing how certain people like talk, how they kind of bring up topics, how they're able to. You want somebody that has like a really fun, like calm demeanor that can be able to be open to seeing all sides. Already having with a couple of conversations with you, you're very open to a lot of different things.
That. I try
so
to.
You're not. So you're. So it's not
be.
like it's not like having like this like person that has only this one type of guest or this one type of like already with these types of people. I've already gone through a lot of your content and media. You have a very wide range of different people.
I try. Well, because my whole thing is like too, again, going back to what I said in the very beginning, I'm very selfish. Yeah. Like I'm very selfish. Like I have a couple people lined up that I want to sit down with. I think they're interesting because I think like I've never met them before. I like what they're doing or I like their subject matter. But then also, yo, dude, if I want to, and then to go back to, I'm not going to go to 519. If I want to get fucking slammed with one of my roommates and sit down,
would they not let you do that?
I doubt they would let us get drunk.
Let me call him.
At 5:19. I will. But my point is too. But then to go back to time limit, you have to book out your time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I can't guarantee I'm going to stick to an hour. I can't guarantee that I'm going to fill 3 hours because there's been times where and I'm not going to say who, but there have been times where I've sat down with somebody where I'm like, oh, this is easily gonna be a fucking 3-hour episode, and we went for like an hour and 15 minutes. And that's not to say that it was a bad episode, but just say like I thought we was gonna go longer, so I booked out my night for longer, but it only went for like an hour 15, hour 32 hours.
I'm so sorry, my ADHD is going crazy.
Yeah,
by any chance, have you had to like? Because I think of it like a date. Like if I have to talk to my date and keep the conversation going, that's like annoying. Like I'm never seeing that bitch again. But like, have you had to do that on the podcast with people where you had to like keep the conversation alive?
Yeah, no, that's for sure happened. And like, and it's not because they weren't. Let me start that over. Yes, not because they weren't good conversationalists or not because they weren't interesting people. Because it's funny. In a way, I'll do a podcast with somebody. Yeah. The cameras go on, headphone is on, and they get real fucking nervous because they've never been on camera.
Oh,
they've never had a mic in front of them and stuff like that. And because
my stage fright.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing for podcasts.
I didn't think so either. But then also I had to take a step back and think, okay, they're in my home. They are somewhere they've never been before. They've never met me, especially if they've never...
I know. I feel like this is like a casting couch.
They've never met me. And no matter what I try to do to make the studio space look more lived in or to make it more personal, because I do my best, like this is all my nerd shit, obviously, right?
You got to just leave your underwear here and just make it more homey.
But like no matter what I do, if they already have preconceived notions, if they already have their own fears, stuff like that, it's going to add to that. But then cameras come off, headphones come off, and it's like this weight comes off their shoulder. And they're like, oh, and then we end up having this like 20-minute conversation afterwards.
That's like way better.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where was this? But then I have to remember, like, by this point, I think this is episode 87, 88. And they've maybe done podcast 1. Maybe I was their first.
What are you
podcast.
going to do at episode 100?
You are the third person to ask me that today. Funny thing, and I don't know. I legitimately do not know.
Oh, you're gonna do a debate, bro. You gotta do a debate for your 100th.
I have no fucking clue.
You have to get multiple of these people, the highest personalities. Get like probably Johnny. I don't know. No, Johnny and Buck are friends. No, you gotta separate them. You gotta
separate them.
No, you gotta put like probably the quietest person on here with the craziest one up there.
But yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. But what I do know is that, to kind of tie all this back around, what I would like to do with this year is just go hard as fuck, build it up, and I have a couple people in mind that I can say off the podcast that I really do want to have on, and talk to.
Have you had Depot? Is his name Depot? He's the one that runs everything for like Paletta Bar.
You're another person that told me to have him on. I don't know. I don't remember what his name is, but you're
either like Astral or I'm sorry,
Astral Adam.
Either Adam or Depot.
The April Fool's guys have told me to have him on too. And honestly, I'm so fucking lazy when it comes to fucking dude. When I had hit you up, I was like, I had this fucking burst of energy, and I was like, I got a schedule, and I pushed away everything from my fucking day job, and I sent out like 5 text messages, 3 DMs, 2 emails, and I just fucking booked out to like the middle of March. I was like, oh thank God. The thing I've been pushing off for months took me 30 minutes, and then we're done. Okay, great. But no, they're on the, like, I want to get like. Ashel for sure, hit him up. Since we brought them up, Savings for sure, because I've heard amazing things.
Sam is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
he's fucking amazing.
But the moral here is I would like to build this up, figure out what's going on in Austin, visit there 2 or 3 times, and to make that transition kind of smooth. Because I will push off my moving to Austin, as long as I have to. Because my last thing that I want to do is go out there true early. Yeah, and be like, fuck, I know, because I only know one person over there, and I would like to know more than that. And
have you started reaching out to
or
looking at what's there, the prospects that are there?
A little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, and that's why I kind of want to go out there for about 5 to 7 days at a time, kind of feel around, see what's going on, and just do my best out there while visiting. But my focus right now, 100%, is.
This is good. I feel like everybody is going to have to like leave.
Yeah.
Like I'm finding that my friends that have performed here are leaving to other places like Nashville or like LA or like even Texas, and they're getting a lot of resources, and I'm already hearing rumors. They're like, "Oh, this would be so cool if I brought this back to like New Mexico." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, that's the mentality. Just I keep bringing them up because I fucking love them, A. But B, because like I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself with people that are doing cool shit, no matter what it is. It could be fucking woodworking, but if they're passionate about it and they're working hard at it, that's gonna rub off on you.
Yeah.
And so the slums of Harvard, dude, like they
grind hard.
They grind hard as fuck, and and what's funny is like they're all homies, but they recognize that when Toby and oh my God, I think it was when Leroy showed up. When they showed up in the band.
Leroy's the drummer?
The band. He's one of the singers. The drummer's Nick. The giant fucking white dude.
Yeah, Nick.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
I had to like walk like 3 feet around him because he's just like such a stocky dude. He was like sound checking on his drum set, and we were at Sister Bar, and Sister Bar has like the door on the very back of the stage where the drum kit is.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God damn, this dude is so big. God,
he's a teddy bear, but he's a big guy. But they all recognized that when Toby showed up, and he was like, no. We're not just going to be the band that plays a couple venues and we collect our $300 and pass go. And
they do so much content. They're so good.
Like, he was like, no, we're going to fucking do it big. And they actually just had their first out-of-state show in Arizona a couple weeks ago. They just put out a new song, and they're going to keep, like, they're going down to New Mexico State next weekend.
NMSU?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
fuck.
they're still doing all this stuff. And I look at shit like that. Like, I go to their shows, and yes, the alcohol's involved, but I fucking see how hard they're working. I'm like, I get fired up, dude. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
I never met Slums of Harvard previously before the event that we had. Yeah. It was during COVID for the Art Walk. And it was a shit show because
they told me about it.
Because what happened was I was given this much information, and then they were like, "You have speakers, you have lighting, show up." And I was like, "Cool." I didn't have a mixer. I didn't have any of the tools necessary to put a 5-person band together, plus a bunch of DJs, plus a bunch of other like acts throughout the whole entire night. I was given such little notice and information. It was just like, go, show up. And Art Walk is happening right now. I've never experienced an Art Walk. I don't know what it's about. And so no information, not understanding what culturally happens here almost like once a month, like over here with all that craziness. Plus in the middle of COVID, I was like, whatever. Like that whole entire experience was such a weird thing. And I have to apologize to them because I put them in such a weird position where we had like literally the DJ table set up right while they were performing and everything. And they're like, they were such sports about it. Like they like kept performing. They had all these girls in front of the stage. Performance wise, like the best. Like they're so fucking good. But I was laughing because they used all of our equipment and all of our shit that was on stage as like shit that they could like jump. Like for example, I don't know who plays the guitar over there, but like
It's Toby and Johnny.
he was drinking while he was like performing, and then he just like was like completely body slammed on like the whole entire
That sounds
table.
like- that was probably, was he a guitar player or a bass player?
Guitar player.
That sounds like Johnny.
And so like legitimately like that whole entire but that night was so amazing because so many people showed up, and it was just people that was like passing back and forth from like the sidewalks, but we did it in the very backside of El Rey. And I had my shitty little light bars. I had only 2 speakers. It wasn't enough sound to show them off. And it was just, but they worked with whatever they had.
Yeah.
Bro, they killed it. That's how like I've been slowly like stalking them on like what they've been doing. Never have they ever like, their quality just keeps going upwards, and the same amount of energy, they work with whatever they have, and they just, bro.
Yeah. No, they're fantastic, man.
Again, we have so many good
We
talents
have a
over
ton
here.
of talent
that just-
here. And yeah, I would love to be able to just build this as high as I can, go out, come back, and really just like, I mean, honestly, dude, I didn't think it was going to make it past 2 months. I'll be real.
With this?
Yeah.
With your tolerance of just setting this up and doing this, or
No,
like,
because my whole thought process going into it was like, yo, I'll get like, let's see if I know 10 people. Okay, cool. Okay, I know 10 people. Okay, let's see if I can get 10 people to do an episode. And I managed to get 10, and I was like, all right, we're gonna take a break. That's season 1. Whatever, we're gonna take a break. And fucking huge. I mean, I can't tell the story without saying thank you to my buddy Jay. He lived in LA at the time. Now he lives in Arizona. And he at the time he was like my buddy that I went to for like, well, I didn't go to him yet, but he was the guy that I knew that did like graphic design. He does coding. He does his own music. He works from home, self-sustainable, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I went to him and I was like, all right, dude, I've decided I'm going to do this. I just need like, dude, I'll shoot you like $50-$60 if you can put together like a logo, an animated logo, and a couple of like little things that I need.
This is very
Yeah. He created that. And I was like, dude, I'll commission you. Like, let me know what the budget is. And I'll fucking do it, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, dude, sure. Well, he hit me back 3 days later, and he's like, dude, okay, fuck that. I'll just be your producer. Like, we can talk about money later, but
fuck.
Yeah. It's like,
That's a good friend.
yeah. He was like, I'll get you off the ground. I'll
Yeah.
let you know what we have to do. I'll let you know what equipment we need. 'Cause I didn't know dick about any of it. I still don't, but like, I didn't know anything about it.
Are you happy with your setup,
Oh,
or
yeah.
is this?
Yeah, so this is something that's going to be evolving for sure. My buddies that live with me are going to help me like kind of make it just look a little more like we're going to do some cool shit on the ceilings. We're going to do a little bit more to carry out that, and like we're going to like make it not look so fucking, you know.
First of all,
But
the trap house is amazing. Okay, the trap house aesthetic I love.
But we're
okay?
gonna do. I really want to fix the lighting situation and then do all that. But I was like, okay, I'm going to fucking pull together 10 people. Okay, do I know 10 people that'll get on camera? Okay, cool. I did that, made that season 1, and I was like, all right, we're going to take a month off. We're going to recalibrate. I'm going to get better equipment.
Yeah.
And then we're going to try to figure out what's going to go on. I had some fucking, I guess we would say like angel investors help me out. And then, because I mean, you know, this is a lot of money. And
This right here is around anywhere between $400 to $700 based off of the generation that you get.
Yeah.
And so just right here, and then you having several Shure mics with the XLRs that you have to have at the pro level to be able to sustain everything and power the mic, and then on top of it the stands based off of the setup, and then not even including that fucking expensive ass mixer that's taking in all of our levels. Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
that's a lot of dick.
Yeah, dude, I know how to suck, bro. I'll tell you what. Oh god. So anyway, my thought process was like, all right, we'll do that. Take a break. Come back season 2. Do I know 10 people? Okay, sick. I knew 10 more people. Okay, take another break. And then I was like, all right, season 3. And then just season 3 never fucking stopped.
Yeah.
Like I've always heard the idea, build it and they will come. But I never really believed it until about like, oh man, June of 2021, July of 2021, when this shit just didn't fucking end. Yeah. And it got bigger and it got bigger. And it's not huge. Like I don't have a huge imprint, but like I'm getting to the point now where, because I'm pulling myself out of this lazy funk where like I'm getting back to the point where I'm booked out for a couple weeks. I'm booked out for a few weeks.
Is good.
And it's very good. And I'm having people ask to come on for the first time. My biggest compliment that I get is when people ask to come back. Because that's my craziest thing. It's like, oh, you just spent fucking 2 to 3 hours with me and you want to do it again? Are you sure?
I'd never want to ask that. Just so you know, I've been dying to come back.
Thanks, man.
No, seriously. Because I don't like asking that because then I don't want to like impose and be like, no, but seriously, like you're like the funnest person to talk to and like kind of deal with this shit because you also have like a lot of experience. And the problem is that when you usually get people that are, I've seen a very big thing about this where usually the big podcasts that are popping off on, you have to fucking get on TikTok. You have to make the small little things. I promise you, it's gonna work if you do that. But the thing is that you have to have like some form of a personality, or you have to have something to say that's actually of like interest of value. For example, today I had to deal with an explosion. Today.
Nice.
Yeah.
At one of your properties or what?
Yeah, with one of my. I actually had technically 2, but let me show you the first one. Oh yeah, no, I have it on video. Here's technically the first one that happened. So basically, I'm sitting there and I get a notification that people are choking inside the laundry room. And I'm like, why are people choking on? And they're like, there's like heavy amounts of like debris and chemical and everything inside the laundromat. And I'm like, what the hell? So I run over to the laundromat to try to see what it is. And I see it completely still covered in smoke and everything. And I'm trying to figure out what happened in there because I've never seen this type of shit. Yeah, you're now looking at it and seeing what happened.
He's fucking with the fire extinguisher.
Yeah,
this
no.
little like 10-year-old is fucking with the fire. He's figuring out what a real life puzzle is right now.
No. Here's the funniest part about this video.
Oh shit!
Yeah, no.
Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna rewind that. So I'm watching this.
No,
kid.
it's okay. I'm gonna send you the video and then you can just
send
edit it
to
in.
me. Oh my god. So he's fucking with it. Real life puzzle and kaboom! It fucking goes everywhere.
Yeah, he gets it in his eyes, his mouth, everything.
Oh.
And so, and his older brother is making out with some girl in the corner, and so he's not even getting supervised.
Oh, so that's what's going on.
Yeah, his older sibling was making out with his girlfriend in the laundry room of this like ghetto apartment that I work at, and literally this explosion happened. I'm like, fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no. This type of content, this type of stuff, material, you have to deal with people that are at this. You naturally already have this type of shit. Where you don't look like me, I have to like deal with stuff and experience through other shit that I have to go throw myself in crazy situations in order to get that. You already work with a lot of different people like this, and you already have enough experience with like just coming up with this type of content. Honestly, this is just about consistency now.
It is. No, it really is. And I have to set time aside on a weekly basis where like I clip out, because like one of my roommates, he brought up a really good thing. He was like, okay, dude, like you're getting you had a minuscule audience. Mm-hmm. Now you have like a minuscule times 3 audience, but it's growing. Yeah. And you should really go through your old stuff, clip it, post it.
Out of curiosity, do you know how many followers you had when we were talking?
When we were talking, I was at about, oh, fuck me. That was like 280-ish.
How much are you at now?
510 on Instagram. Yeah, 510-ish.
That's fucking good, dude.
Thanks. Thank you. And so, but he brought up a really good idea where he was like, go ahead and clip your older stuff, post it, and that's like endless content that new people haven't seen and all that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, that's a good fucking idea. But I got to sit down and do it. I actually have to sit down, do it, and be consistent with the posting. And because like I recognize from the jump that I can't bitch about my my engagement and then look at how often I post. It was like once a week. You know what I mean? You can't bitch about that. It has to be consistent. It has to be frequent, and I understand.
But the whole process, you're manhandling and doing that yourself. And
exactly.
Kind of
it's a bitch, and it's a lot of work, but it's a matter of sitting down and doing it and then reaping the results later. And what I like about this is like I can't bring myself to do like, because I'll post if my buddies take a picture or if I take a picture every now and again, I'll post like behind the scenes stuff on like a story or stuff like that. It's just like kind of cool to document.
What do your roommates do?
But firefighter, EMT, electrician.
Okay, so those are contractors.
Yeah.
Here's what I learned. Because I love what you're saying right now, and I was in that same position where I was like, for example, I was learning how to make music, and holy shit, that is a bitch. For somebody, like, first of all, I was like, I'm going to learn how to make a song, and I didn't know anything about making music or learning how, or like what it took to make music. And so The process that I learned was from what the big famous people do. And usually they have a lot of engineers around them. So I was like, okay, I got to save up money and go physically to a studio and spend thousands of dollars sitting down with some Asian that is really good at mixing and mastering.
And they all are. They all are.
Literally,
Yes.
I sat down with these people at the same studios that the Killers record at, the same studio that Imagine Dragons uses, and like John Legend, and like all these rappers. And all,
Yeah.
It's, one of them was one of my favorite ones that I always went to and religiously lived in was June Audio, specifically in Provo. And I was going over there. I made one of my songs. I had Sean Paul featuring on one of my songs. And so took his vocals, was able to make a really good song out of it and everything. Sat down, mixing, engineering, everything, all that. And then I took it and I didn't know what to do with it. And then later I found out that people actually make the same like music and can be able to get that same high quality off of their laptops in their homes. And I was like, what the? And I was like, there's so much work that goes behind it. I ended up getting roommates by the pure luck. I don't know how I got these types of roommates, but all of them were all musicians at different levels.
Shit.
And the first one, Luke Bradford, the most famous out of all of us. He got signed to a label. He started throwing his music on like SoundCloud, and he ended up getting signed with a group called Foreign Family, which is like, if you know the EDM artists, Odessa, like they run all that. They're part of that. And he got signed by that label and got prospected and then ended up blowing up with that and started doing tours and all that. But all the roommates in there were doing something with music. Like, for example, one of our other roommates, I was living on their couch. I wasn't the roommate. I was the couch dweller. And they gladly took me. I don't know why. But we had one that was on American Idol. We had another one that was working, making like indie rock music, like underground, like type of like alternative shit and experimental stuff. I was doing events, parties, and working with concerts and kind of making my own music at the time and just fucking around with that. We had one roommate that was fully like signed, and we got to see different levels of the process. And then we also had a Hawaiian. Always throw a Hawaiian in there. They're just really good at music. I don't know why. All of them, either if they can't sing, they can definitely touch anything, any instrument, and they're really good at it. But all of us were feeding off of each other all the time. We would all like fuck around, but we all, like, when it came down to like music and our talent and our wants and like what drives us, we were surrounded by that, and that energy was always there from the moment that we woke up all the way to like when we were fucking around really late at night and then going to bed and do the same thing over and over and over again, seeing each other like successful and going crazy and building stuff. And it's getting to the level that all of us were like actually like on a vibe for like a good amount of time. And I totally suggest that if you have friends that are willing to move in with you, that are around that same genre of like what you're looking for, what your aspirations are, what you're trying to build, please have the opportunity to go search out those people and try to.
Well, that's good advice in general for anyone who wants to create, for anyone
I'm not
who
saying,
wants to.
I'm not saying that go find yourself a millionaire and then be like, I'm gonna surround myself with millionaires and be a millionaire.
But
Like,
it's surrounding yourself with hardworking people. It's surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and that's why I love living here. Like, I've known these guys for over 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like, they've got my back no matter what. And I mean, they took me in after like the reason why we're not in that old studio is when my chick broke up, and they took me in. And I was the couch dweller for like 3 weeks.
yeah, no, it's okay. You got a
Yeah.
bigger house.
And it's great. And it's fucking great. No, I think that's a very important thing for people in general. Because if you live with people that kind of just, or not even live, you could live by yourself, but then just associate yourself with people who just drag you down and like drain your energy and don't really motivate you to do anything. They're not doing anything themselves. That's going to have an effect on you.
I had a roommate like that once, and let me
Oh,
tell
we all
you,
have. Oh, we all have.
I've never been not a hardworking person. My wife fucking hates how I never take a break. Like, literally, she'll be like, hey, let's go on a date or let's like relax. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then my ADHD just like, forget about that. Let's go party this weekend. Let's like make events. Let's like not physically party, but like, let's go like make like something.
Yeah.
Let's like, literally I have whiteboards in my room and I just like write down millions of ideas and stuff like that. And I try to see if I can make content for TikTok and try to like fuck around and try to like do some like type of consulting for one of my friends or shit like that, or try to get festival connections and see what type of equipment, or me trying to engineer some shit for some lighting. And it's always moving 24/7. And I had a roommate that all he did was he just sat at home, and he was like one of these like, his parents are like from Boca Raton, Florida. So that's like, they have money. Yeah. And all he did was just in his underwear all day, just sat in his bed and would smoke weed, eat Cheez-Its, and try to like do shit on his computer. I don't know what he was doing on his computer. I don't know if it was like stocks, Bitcoin, whatever the fuck he was doing.
Yeah.
He was just on his computer. And I felt bad. And I was like, you want to participate and do shit with me? Like, you want to jump in on like my music? He's like, yeah, I play guitar. He actually played guitar very, very fucking well. I paid him to be my guitarist for one of my shows that had thousands of people in front of it. And he was like, whoa, that's cool. He legitimately just was like Eeyore. Like, that's the best way that I can describe this man. Just, like, it was just like that type of like personality, slouch.
I guess nobody likes
Yeah, no,
me.
it's that type of shit. And I was like, fucking move, dude. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you so like depressed and shit? It will suck the life out of you if you give anybody that type of energy, if you surround yourself with that, if you're even in the same vicinity. Like that, it will be enough to grab your attention. You can spot slouchy, like depressed people. They literally suck the energy to the point where you have to give them attention and be like, what's going on over there?
And those people need others like that.
They need a swift kick in the ass.
Yeah, they do. No, seriously, they do. They say, okay, you can be fucking, one of my favorite quotes that I've heard recently is, okay, like, whatever emotional state you're in, you can be that and lazy, or you can be that and work hard and eventually pull yourself out of that. You can be one of two things.
Yeah.
And one of them guarantees that you're broke and guarantees that you're going nowhere, or another one, there's a possibility that you could be broke and go nowhere, but there's also a possibility you succeed. Why not take this
I was
one?
very broke and then some. And I was at very rock bottom, hitting nothing, and I was still moving. And the fact that I had nothing and was still moving, I was like, I can't, like, I get mad because then I have to catch myself and correct myself because I'm like, fuck homeless people. And I'm like, I can't do that because it's like, I can't do that. For the longest time, I was like, I don't understand why I see lazy people and shit like that. And I have to like recorrect myself and be like, everybody has different situations and shit like that.
I'll tell you, man,
but the college kids here, they have right now I'm seeing a generation where you have people that actually are handicapped, or people that have suffered a lot of different things of drug addictions and shit like that. And they end up being within really tough situations that it's just hard for them to move, or they have like these reputations or on their record and they can't get jobs and shit like that. And then I see this other generation of like these victim role players. Like, I'm seeing this build up and it's really weird. I'm seeing it on TikTok, where these kids are like, I'm the victim, or I'm suffering.
Or they complain that they have to work full time, or they complain that they have to actually like put in
God forbid
effort, or they have to like,
Every time I get in an argument with my friends, I'm like, pull out your hands, pussy. I'm like, literally, I have calluses. I have like cuts, scars, everything. I'm like, I've worked in construction for years, and people that don't have a work ethic just drive me.
Well, it's interesting to me now, and I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine. I called her for her birthday, and we were talking about our new jobs that we have. And at my job, we just lost 2 managers, and the long story short is because they were being extremely lazy. The laziness got exposed, and they got fired. And what I think is interesting now is like, and it got accelerated by COVID for sure.
Oh,
because
it's so enabled.
Because everyone like got to work from home. I think there's a positive to it.
They got paid to stay home.
Right. And I think there's a positive to it because we got to see how so many jobs can be done from home.
Yeah.
Like, and effectively be done from home. And the mental health is better for these workers, and they still get the same amount of benefits. They spend more time with their kids, more time with their family. They get, because one of the biggest complaints that I see.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
No,
that's the biggest confusion, is that there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, because one of the biggest complaints that I hear from single parents is like, they have to take the kid to fucking daycare, they have to take the kid to school, they have to do all these things, and then they only have so much time after they get home from their 9 to 5, their 8 to 12 hour job. They only have so much time to cook, clean, take care of the kids, spend time with the family, all that. But if you work from home, all those things are mostly alleviated. But one thing that on the negative side that it exposed was like how it went from, we're not allowed to hire, we have to shut down. Then it went to, oh shit, we're open again, no, quote unquote, nobody wants to work. And then it's like, all right, we can't hire. And I think that bred this level.
Right now, there's a new phase though. It's now mass firing.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to get to. And what's driving that is so many people latched on to like.
They got comfortable.
Like, oh, yo, everyone's looking for work. Nobody can hire anybody. Man, fuck these people. I'm gonna be lazy as shit. They're not going to fire me. They need me. That is going away
You are so
in
dispensable.
droves. It's going away in droves. And one of the best examples of that right now is tech, Google, Twitter, Facebook,
I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
laying people off left and right.
Do you see the videos of them laying off, like, for example, their influencers that they have, like, on TikTok or, like, on Instagram that are like, this is the day in the life of, like, of being a Google employee. And then they, like, go, they're like, I wake up and then I go work out in the workout facility that is inside the Google, like, headquarters. And then they're like, and then I have my breakfast and it's like a full omelet and chefs are, like, cooking this. And then on top of that, and then after that, I try to de-stress and try to get in the mood. So I have, like, a yoga class at Google.
Yeah, it's
What
insane.
the fuck type of job?
No,
is
it's
it? Like,
insane. Well, but what
they
I
work
will-
2 hours, 3 hours max throughout the whole day.
Exactly. But what I think is interesting is so one of the clients that my company has is Meta down in Los Lunas. And so I went down there in November.
Facebook, right? That's
Yeah.
Meta?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went down to the Meta Center in the end of November and I got a full tour of the place.
Oh, God.
Dear fucking Lord.
Oh,
It is
God.
so huge. It is massive. It's a compound. And like they have a full on like high end college style cafeteria. They have multiple cafeterias actually. They have workout facilities. They have game rooms.
What is, out
have-
of curiosity, what do you think, in your opinion, is the like, doesn't that breed this type of like influence of like, we don't need to work hard.
Right.
We don't
So,
need to.
I think
Because I work with the Mexicans that don't speak anything of English, and then they're like, but like these people literally they pour concrete since they were like 12 years old.
They work hard as fuck, right? So what I think the idea behind it, for me, it's the idea behind it and the the intentions are not matching up with the result, and that's why we're seeing these mass firings, right? So what I think it is like for me, for example, right? So my work, a lot of my day, a lot of my free time is spent around supplementing what I want out of my daily schedule.
Yeah.
And it's the best way to put it. Meaning I wake up in the morning and I go to the gym, then I have to have food in the morning, and then I have to go to work, and then I have to have lunch, and then I come back and I either do a podcast or doing whatever I'm doing in the evenings, and then I have my dinner, and then I have everything I do my editing or I'm reading or whatever it is, but I have to supplement all of that. And a lot of that supplementation is I'm fucking packing my bags. I'm doing a shit ton of laundry. I'm doing a lot of cooking. I'm doing a lot of like staging of my stuff that I need in the mornings, stuff like that. But as a multi-billion-dollar company, if you can say to your employee, okay, you want to better your life, you want to eat healthier, you want to save money on food, you do want to go to the gym, okay, we're going to provide all of that for you. So you're going to, in theory, you would de-stress your employees because, dude, their food there at Meta is free. It is 100. And then what they do, it's kind of it's ingenious what they do. I've seen it. Like I got a full tour of the cafeteria, of the fucking kitchen, everything. They have full kitchens, like you would think, like restaurant style kitchens, where what they do is in the serving line, it's different. They have the full meal plan Monday through fucking Sunday because they have people that work there on the weekends.
Yeah.
And they provide breakfast and lunch. And they have a full meal that's planned out for the whole week. And then they have 3 different types of meals you can get based on how healthy you want to be. I'm not making this up.
I just had like a thought. I just find it really funny and ironic that an unhealthy form of like social media, addictive and stuff like that, like it's addictive. The most unhealthy like company is creating and breeding this unhealthy like lifestyles and it just continues. It doesn't stop from like the phone and like your personal life. No, we're gonna integrate this in your whole life, and so we're gonna breed you to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's the snake that eats its own tail. And well, because you look at that, the average person is gonna look at that and say, oh, so if the work day is from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, and I have a 1 hour lunch in the middle, but the compound opens up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yo, I can show up at 6. I can work out there, shower, get breakfast, go to work, eat lunch, and leave. And then I have all this shit to do at home. I'm saving money on my groceries, all that. But in reality, you're right. That can breed laziness. That can breed all this stuff. I think that's why we're seeing all these firings. And then they have fucking game rooms there. And then they have fucking alcohol there. And they have all these ability to throw parties and like team building bullshit. And so I think it's the way, like you bring up like, oh, well, it's becoming your whole life. That's exactly what it is. Instagram, like Meta and Twitter and YouTube, Google. YouTube is Google, right? all of that has infiltrated our lives so much.
Don't worry, all of it is going to be Live Nation here soon.
Right. It's integrated in our lives so much that it makes perfect sense that the boots on the ground company would do the same thing. It makes complete fucking sense.
I just think that the problem, even with like I understand inflation. I understand it, but I'm very against at the fact that they're right now about to again raise the minimum wage. And they're going to raise the minimum wage, I think, over here like to 15.25, 50.50 or something like that. I'm going to be very honest with you. The 16-year-olds that are flipping these burgers at McDonald's are not worth $15. I was not worth, when I was burning all of these motherfuckers tacos at Jack in the Box when I was 16, I was not worth.
Well, I just remember when I got out of college, and I hate sounding like, well, I had to go through it. You have to go through it. Like, life should get better in theory, but also, yeah, with some of these jobs, like I was working. When I had first gotten out of college, I was working at a little diner that's down the road. They're still open. I worked there from like fucking 6 in the morning to about 3 in the afternoon. I was getting paid $7.50 an hour plus tips, and then the tips were very much. It was a fucking tip jar.
$7.50. God damn, you get paid more than my girl that works at Chili's.
But then I went to my night job at Pelicans.
Yeah.
That was at the time I was getting paid $2.25 an hour plus tips. And
that's more like it.
Yeah. And that's what I was doing from the hours, because I would get off at 3 and then I would get there from 4 to like maybe 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I would do doubles probably. If I was lucky, I was doing doubles 4 times a week. And
they sell alcohol? The Pelicans?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
they do?
Full
Okay.
bar there. Oh, yeah,
then,
full bar.
Then, yeah, you're getting a lot of tips, right?
Oh, I fucking love Pelicans, dude. But my point is like, yeah, I think about myself back then. I think about the type of work that I was doing. And yeah, I don't necessarily agree that like, yeah, if how much, because you think about, okay, yeah, should these people get paid enough to live? Yeah, I'm never going to say no to that.
Yes.
But if we raise that money up enough to where the employer cannot keep the business open, well, guess what? Everyone loses.
That's where that's
sorry, but that's how math works.
Going back to Daily Wire and Steven Crowder, I think that's what's happening right now. Where it's like, hey, you guys are offering me 50, I want like 150, and then they're like, no, you can't do that because like, A, we're a business,
and he's not worth 150
and we make money off of you creating content on all these platforms. And if these platforms are demonetizing you because of shit you say, we can't make money to pay you. And then what
universe is Steven Crowder worth more than Rogan? Let's be real. Rogan got $100 million from Spotify.
Now, here's the interesting thing too, though, because like for example, Steven Crowder, the specific genre that they're in is mostly the conservative community, correct?
It is only conservative.
Yeah. So basically, the whole entire conservative community, basically like he's the biggest of the biggest in the conservative community.
I would say it's him and Ben Shapiro. Yeah.
Ben Shapiro is not even like like 60 to 80 million views, while 60 to 80 million like follows or whatever. But like you have Steven Crowder, who is like above hundreds of millions.
Because he's still on YouTube,
and his contract
exclusively almost on YouTube.
Well, he ended his contract with Blaze because they weren't paying him enough or to satisfy the needs of him and his team. And then they were like, "We'll give you $50 million."
And the other guys who have Crystal and Sagar, right? Blaze.
I'm sorry.
They have Crystal and Sagar.
Oh God, they have what is it? Glenn Beck. They have a lot of different people.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's the Blaze, right? Yeah. That's the Blaze. Yeah, no, they had a lot of crazy stuff. But like going back to that, like it's like these people have worked hard and these people have built their platforms, and then they were able to bring the value and the worth over that. For example, like the reason why people go to college, I love asking college kids this because they cannot answer this, and it's the weirdest fucking thing to me. Why do you go to college?
Yeah, why are you here?
No, why do you go to college?
Yeah.
You went to college? You're currently going to college, or you're dropping?
No. Yeah.
Why did you go to college?
Well, the first time I went to college is because I had nothing else to do, and I needed some place where I felt safe, which was just because literally.
So you go to the ghettoest university to feel safe?
No. Because the first college that I went to was my high school. Because the high school the military school offered 2 years of college, so I just stayed on campus where I've been living for 4 years. Stayed there for the 2 years. I felt safe there, so I was like, I don't want to do anything.
What, does like the military universities like hazy or something?
No, dude, it was chill as fuck. Well, for me, it was anyway. But then I went to UNM just because it was what I was told to do. It was like the logical step forward. But then as I've grown up a little bit more, I'm like, that's what I want to do in life. It's kind of fucking like, it was funny. One of my UNM professors, Alex, I was going to film school, and we were having a conversation over Zoom. Real nice guy. We were talking, and he had asked me that same question. Why are you in this class? And I was like, well, I was talking to my advisor.
I am so sorry.
There you go.
My wife is going to call the police if I don't text her.
No, you're good. No, you're good. We're going to wrap up here in about 15 anyway. So we were talking and I was like, fuck, like, I was talking to my advisor and this was on the fucking list for my course path, and intro to film production seemed pretty necessary for film schools. Like, yeah, why not? And he goes, no, I'm gonna stop you right there. No. There is nothing necessary but what you're doing right now. And I was like, what? He goes, college is kind of stupid, but film school is not necessary.
Basket weaving is more.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, can you continue? Because I feel like you're not supposed to say this, but can you please continue?
No, it's straight up. I asked so many fucking kids. I'm like, what are you here for? And they're like, well, my parents went to college. And I'm like, what do your parents do?
Right.
And so, like, for example, my family, I hate talking about, like, their lifestyle and how they are and stuff like that because they're fucking geniuses. And everything that they say, everything that they do, every direction, everything that they've been able to build is because they always pointed to college. And then I've worked for the last 8 years with people that have no degrees, no nothing. There's only one person that has a degree. Imagine Dragons lead singer Dan Reynolds. But he doesn't like I'm seeing all these people that don't have degrees that I feel like it's like now like a funnel now where it's like, do you have a master's or associates or a bachelor's or what do you have? And it's like, who asked that?
Yeah.
Like,
well, hardly anyone does unless you're getting into a specialized field. And I'm never going to say there's not utility in fucking going to college or there's not utility in learning. You should always be trying to learn and
I'm not going to trust a doctor that hasn't gone to medical school for years.
Like I think in general, like I'm never going to be a doctor. I'm never going to be going to a trade school. Going to be a lawyer, anything like that. But I'm always going to be like, there is a intrinsic value in learning, especially if like what I want to do. Like I want to do this podcast so the fucking wheels fall off. So inherently, I have to learn how to communicate better. I have to learn more about different people's backgrounds based on who they're going to be, like who the guest is, all that kind of stuff. Like that is a implied task to what I'm doing, right? But like, I'm never going to advocate for a stupid society, but then at the same time, with the business model of what college is, and it is a business, it is a industry that markets to the very uneducated and slaps them with a loan that they cannot get out of even in bankruptcy. Come the fuck on. It's a circus. It's an absolute racket. And the fact that the internet, I think a lot of it's been enabled by the internet, where it's like you don't really need to go to college because all these problems we can find the answer to on the internet.
There is no reason why. Obviously, I want certain contractors and certain tradesmen, like going to trade school and getting certifications and licensing.
That will always be important. That will not lose the value that college has.
I want doctors to get the education that they get because if I have a neurology issue, or if I have cardio issue or orthopedics with my bones with surgery on me and stuff, I want those people to be fully educated and fully equipped to
Shout out to my roommate David that broke his collarbone. Yep.
Like I want these people in these fields that are very necessary to thrive, that are necessary for society to run, I want them to be at the top shape because they get the most money in those fields. They do. For example,
and they're also life-saving. Like life-saving and nourishing.
They help run society. These fields that are necessary, they run society. Yes. For example, like and it pays very well. For example, we are number 2 in the whole entire world globally that pays the most for our doctors and even our nurses. And the only person that beats us is Luxembourg. And they only beat us by $1,000 more on average. 1,000 out of the hundreds of thousands of dollars they charge us in medical bills. And everybody else in 3rd place, 4th place, 5th place, and all the other places are not even like anywhere near us. Yeah. I'm talking about like hundreds of thousands. That's why when Canada says that they have like free like medical stuff, their medical programs and all their free healthcare.
Next to horrible. Yeah.
You break a bone, good luck. You have to wait like 5 days. If you have a heart attack, good fucking luck, dude. And plus, they don't have the medical resources or the advancements or the amount of like just everything, technology, like stuff that we have. We're curing cancer right now. We're finding a little pill to shove it into. We already have doctors saying that, hey, we might have cured it. They haven't like FDA approved it, but like they're like saying shit like that.
They aren't FDA proving a lot of things these days. So you know what I mean?
They're turning into frogs gay. Like, no, but like it's like that type of level. I want those people to have education. But the fact that, like, for example, in podcasting and stuff like that, you can make millions off of this. You can be able to find, there's so much free money out there. There's so much different resources out there that will definitely pay if you have an audience, if you have something valuable to give them. Yep. And so this would be a good field if you are going to go to college, to be looking into like communications.
Exactly.
To looking into business management. Yeah. To looking into these types of articulate like fields that kind of can be able to add on top of what you're already doing. But this is so rudimentary. I feel like right now the biggest issue that I'm having with like the college like ordeals, when I ask kids, why are you in college right now? They always turn around and they have to pause and they're like, I don't know. I really don't know. I think my mom and dad have been pushing on this for like the longest amount of time, and everybody has been pushing on this. And if you break it down all the way to the high school level teaches you
to get to college. Well, if you look at the whole system, right? It's in high school, it's you focus on your GPAs and get into a good college and so you can have a good life. Okay, great. You get to the good university, you get through your 4 years there. The number one job field in college graduates over the last 5 to 8 years, turning around and working at the college they fucking graduated from. It's the snake that eats itself. That's all.
Why do we have gender studies?
Yeah, it's to teach the gender studies class.
But let's feed into this. Oh, okay, I gotta be very careful. I can't.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Because let's feed into what is happening. I'm not gonna say my opinion on anything, but I'm just gonna state things that are happening. We have now a very large movement of people that are advocating for a lot more leeway on the way that we look at gender and a lot more of how we look at sexuality and breaking down the already kind of situated, like set in stone language. Yeah. And when you break down that language and kind of break down what certain things mean and add more and kind of add a little bit more variety and just change it up and just because how we feel and stuff like that, now that's putting more avenues. Now, why are we, say for that, what is the value and monetary worth of educating yourself on all of this? And then having more teachers teach about this. Over what? Already I'm seeing so much. You can't do this with children in the elementary or middle school level. Look at these parents. They're ready to. They're trying to.
They are.
They're trying to, and these parents are fighting, and they're ready to go in there with guns themselves and be like, "No, you're not going to force the sexuality stuff on my children." But like, it's already. What is the point of charging somebody $12,000 in tuition to go learn about how to say zay, zem, z? Like,
it's a racket. That's my point. It's all fucking racket. And
how do you get more kids to trust the curriculars, like the college system of like, oh, I need to go get an education when you have that thrown in the mix? And then it's like, that's such a deterrent for me.
It's a deterrent for people who have the ability to think for themselves at an early age. And not a lot of them do. It's because you got to also remember that these teachers in college, they are affirming these kids that going to college is the right move. You're doing the right thing. You're special. And in some cases, you're better than your peers for going to college. Fuck that person that's going to be an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, whatever it is, right? Yeah. A stonemason. You're better than them. Remember that. Yeah. You're in college. Remember that. And so, and I say that not just hyperbole. I say that because
you're way better than the electrician that he's making like no less than probably $300,000.
Yeah.
Your heating, air cooling, ventilation system, if that goes out, do you know how that works?
Yeah, fuck no.
Do you know how much it's going to cost you to bring that small little fat man to come in here and take a look at your HVAC system? Not to even fix it, just to look at it.
Just to look at it. Yeah, you're looking at a $200 to $300 deposit.
You want to know how much I got charged? I looked at the invoice, like a couple weeks ago. He had to replace, I know exactly what he did, and I could have gotten it from Home Depot and done it myself. He got a special gauge wire, a copper wire that was a certain amount of thickness. And he cut it and put 2 prongs on it and touched two little parts of the positive and the negative on this part of the HVAC, and then he was like, "You're good to go. I'll send you the bill." $13,000.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not exaggerating.
Well, it's the same thing with like car mechanics. Like that's why I'm so happy that I'm living here now. Is my buddy David. He's a car guy, and so he.
Oh, your roommate?
Yeah. So he taught me how to do a couple things with the engine that were going wrong.
Send me his number.
And he taught me how to do a couple things, and the parts ran me a couple $100, but like it would have ran me thousands to do it at a dealership or to do it at an auto mechanic shop. And
I don't know how to drive clutch, and I've burnt out my clutch. I don't know how many fucking times. And here's it. I went to CarMax, and I was like, I want a car. And I had a little bit of money from the shows and all the shit that I saved up. And so I go to CarMax, I find this little Nissan, and I was like, cool. It's only like $10,000. Like, that's very cheap for a brand new vehicle.
It's a standard.
Well, it was like 15,000 miles on it. I was like, I was like, $10,000 for this? Get it? She hands me the keys. And then she looks at me, and then she runs inside and then locks the doors at like the CarMax thing. It was like late at night. Yeah. And so I finally finalize everything, all my paperwork, all my stuff. I get approved. I get my APR paperwork, whatever the fuck it is. And then I go over to my car. I don't know how to turn it on. I don't know how to drive. I burn out the clutch. Dude, I tried to take it to Nissan. They wanted to charge like $4,000. And then I take it to like some Mexican over here. He's like, hey, 900. And I was like, okay, perfect. I was like, these people, like, they scam the fuck out of it. And because they can. They have a level of the education to do it, but that doesn't mean that those are the only people that can.
You don't need education to scam people when you have a monopoly on the knowledge. Yeah. When you have a monopoly of the education on whatever subject you're in, it's easy to fucking scam.
That's why I like YouTube. You can find anything on
YouTube.
Exactly.
And yeah. Well, hey, listen, man, this has been a fucking pleasure.
Round 3? No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah, we will definitely do a third one this year. Like, that's not a question. This is seriously
Except this time,
pleasure.
You're going to do it at my studio.
Fuck it.
You want to do it?
Yeah, fuck it. This is mobile, dude.
Hell yeah.
Mobile's I'm going down to Cruces in a couple weeks, and then I'm taking this out to Austin here in April, so it'll be a fucking blast.
Austin, he's coming for you. Ooh.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll see you next time, man.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Wait.
Buy the chili, motherfuckers.